Board. Board games, board games, it's what we're jamming today. Board games, trying to make things we can play. Board games, it's what it's all about. Board games, I'm not gonna shout. I am starting off this streaming with a little bit of singing, and there's some games that we have made, and these games may be okay. And over there you will see, Jess, we've made at least 2 games.
We'd like to test.
Pardon?
We'd like to test.
Yes,
Test and Jess
exactly.
Almost rhyme. Almost.
I was going to say they might be a mess.
They will be a mess. Mine will.
I mean, that's what testing is all about at the end of the day. Kind of accepting the fallibility of your first ideas and accepting, that things aren't going to be perfect the first time around. And, I tried a couple of things yesterday. One of them was kind of working and one of them was a complete mess. And it's just like, this is bad for so many reasons. I'm just going to shelf it. It was fun to play with CD. That was definitely highlights of yesterday. But anyway, we are going to play those games for sure. We, in experiences, were definitely not poor. Board games, it's what we're going to play. Board games, and new things might be made. Hello, and welcome to Timmy. It is lovely to see you. And Rob, lovely to see you too. I hope that everyone is generally well. And today is Busy Beats and Board Game Blether. Another episode. This is episode 282. Game jamming, and that is what we are all about. We're going to be making something. We've got some initial ideas. If you don't have an initial idea, if you want to jump in, then there is still plenty of time. And oh yeah, I forgot to make up a thing for this, but yeah, if you're not already part of the Discord, then check it out. And yeah, if you've got something that you're like, hey, I'd like to try this out today, then, well, there's 2 of us here. If you want to jump in, then feel free to give it a go. We're going to start off probably with Jess's thing, and then if someone else, and then after that, if other people have something that they need to try before they skedaddle, then that's an opportunity, and then I'll do some drawings for my thing, and might work or might not work, but yeah, that's pretty much what we're going to do today. We're going to be pondering things and making things and trying things and seeing why they worked or why they didn't work, and yeah, probably more of the latter, let's be honest. That's
well, it's the first run through of a lot of things. Some of these things you might go, wow, it's a great idea, but the likelihood is that to get to every great idea, we've got to go through about 5 slightly pants ideas first.
And yeah, it's all about trying to have that confirmation. I mean, I feel like game design is ultimately, there's 2 key questions that you've got to ask. It's like, what are you making and why are you making it? And these are like big philosophical questions. And if you work out exactly what you're making, by the time you know what you're making, well, you've basically already made it. And even by the time you've finished making the thing, you might not have fully worked out what you're making or even why you're doing it. I mean, yeah, I'm still trying to work out the reasons for me making things, but I think these are questions that it's worth asking ourselves. Like, are you... And certainly for a game jam, it doesn't have to be publishable. I think that's the important thing to remember. I think that if you want to make a thing because it's just fun to experiment with things, then that's a worthy reason. If you want to make a thing just because of the joy of the first few playtests, that's a great reason. If you want to make a thing just because, I mean, it's kind of something to do. And what else are you going to be doing on at this time? Hey, if you've not got much else to do, why not make a game? That's the
Well, it's the
micro.
fun of the process. That's the whole
Yeah.
thing, that it's sort of digging down into it and saying, actually, it's not just the end product that's fun, but it's the making that's fun. It's the doing it.
And Rob has a wee comment about saying that you need to go through 5 pants idea before getting to the good one.
Well, that's a
Saying-
potentially good one, not necessarily a really good one. You know, that's like one that's actually got the potential to maybe grow into something which is good. So, you know, so like, well, plus, you know, you end up with a whole load of ideas, and some of them you just, you know, you discard immediately. So maybe it's 5 that you've actually written down, 5 that have got to the, oh, let me note that down stage. I have loads of backs of envelopes with things on, and I'm like, this is a really bad idea. But actually, if I do this and that, then maybe it'll get to be a better idea.
I've heard, I mean, I guess also it depends how many, let's call them bottlenecks, do you have? Like, there's a really good book about creativity, A Whack on the Side of the Head. I don't have it here, but I'm going to show you the sequel, which is not quite as good. But if you in the seats of the pants, actually, this is perfect because this is by Roger von Uck. I don't know how to pronounce that name. Am I saying it correctly?
It's a good name.
But this is a really good book for those who are interested in creativity. This is Mark Rosewater's favourite book. A Whack on the Side of the Head, rather, is Mark Rosewater's favourite non-fiction book. And so that was good enough, you know, recommendation for me. Anyway, in this one, Roger talks about how we've got to be brainstorming, just letting our freak flag fly, not in those exact words, but just going for everything. And then afterwards, we have the judge. So Roger talks about explorer, artist, judge, and warrior. So the explorer is the kind of brainstorming, trying to find out everything. And then the artist, I can't remember what the artist was all about, but basically the warrior is the person who gives it the final push, like, we need to make this. And then the judge is the person who says, that's not a good idea, that's not good enough. And so the point is that when you're in one of these modes, you need to just embrace that mode fully. If you are brainstorming, don't be judging all your ideas, but then you need to go through this cycle of bottlenecks, of discarding things to see, okay, what's good enough, kind of talking out loud, saying, oh, maybe we could do this, I don't know about, oh, maybe we could do this. And sometimes we just need to say, okay, let's forge ahead with a path, let's just create something. I guess that's the artist, I don't know. But trying to just get something down. And I've heard a lot of people saying, okay, it's for every 10 ideas, one of them is something that they'll actually ponder fully. And for one of them that they get to the playtest stage, one of them might be something that they start then pitching. And so it's maybe 100 to 1, but it's like, how many bottlenecks do you have? What kind of stage are you looking at? Because, and you could have multiple stages. You could say, okay, well, a bunch of things fail, make it, I think of the idea and then I discard them after, you know, not even bothering with it very much, maybe because it just doesn't excite me. Maybe you work out the full mechanisms and then at that point you're like, yeah, this isn't a good game. And sometimes you write down the thing to playtest it, and every single stage you can discard more things.
Yeah, but new ideas lead to other ideas. Basically, the old ideas are being like the compost for the new ideas. You know, it's a whole cycle of, you know, reusing and renewing. You know, so you're doing all this stuff and you're discarding them and going, you know, actually, I don't think that works. But it kind of fertilizes the new ideas. You know, you get through the bottleneck and you have to say, oh, actually, that's not going to get through. But maybe a slither of it is going to get through, and that's going to be the seed for a new idea. Somehow I'm talking in very gardening terms today. Composts and seeds.
It's
this
all
is going to
work.
be it.
I think this is a really good metaphor. And, you know, you put them in and then you plant it and then maybe you forget about it. Maybe it doesn't quite work out straight away. but then eventually maybe that seed, it combines with another seed, and then they intertwine to cross-pollinate and make something beautiful.
Yeah, you get a really great hybrid, something that you never knew would be possible, but has actually come up from other things. And in fact, you know, with quite a lot of plants, like things like apple trees, they don't grow properly from seeds. Or hang on, let me get this right. When you've got a good apple, then you create more apple trees of the same variety, not by planting a seed, but by taking a branch and by making that branch into a new tree. So I'm wondering if there's something there about sometimes you've got games which come up from seeds and grow all the way up, but other times you've got games which actually grow from another game rather than from nothing. There you go.
No, 100%, because of course Knizia does this, and I mean, analogous to Picasso's Blue Period, you can look at Knizia's auction, you know, okay, this is directly traceable to that other one, or indeed my own stuff, Plus, which sure it's not come out yet, but that is the catch-up mechanism in that is directly stolen from Wibble, which I don't know any other game that used. So I believe I came up with it for Wibble, but I don't know. But having done that, and then, you know, the mechanisms for a lot of the Muckle games, you know, the fact that Nano Muckle, okay, we are doubling this score, that kind of directly then inspired Bbbb, and yeah, there's all these different things that keep coming up in your mind, and, you know, wee bits of each thing.
Yeah.
But sometimes you can just say, okay, you know what? Here, I've got this game, Muckle, now I just want to shorten it, and hey, presto, it's a completely different game. Hey, 24 cards, that's not short enough, let's make it 16. Different game. Hey, let's make it 8 cards, and the 8-card version and the 16-card version, to my mind, are both good, solid games in their own right, but both are very different.
Yeah.
And
yeah, they've grew from different cuttings, but, you know, but actually they've turned into different things. Oh, yeah, that is very true.
Rob says it might turn out to be a rich compost that allows for amazing growth, or it might just be a pile of dung.
Asterisks.
Does dung not? Can I not say dung?
Dung does fit. Dung fits very nicely.
The 4-letter word. Sometimes hard to tell the difference in advance. And so, yeah, let's get back to the script, and Timmy has reminded us what we should be talking about right now is recent highlights, living life and seeing the sights, recent highlights, playing games and other delights, recent highlights. So you've already started, but feel free to let us know in the comments, what have you been up to recently, whether you're watching this live or after the fact. If you've got something that excited you, that's been enjoyable, I am genuinely interested to hear about it from you. So please let me know, what games have you been playing? What nice food have you eaten? What have you managed to get out to do some exercise? I managed to have a bit of a sprint. I went out, I was just going to go around the block, and then I went out and I was feeling, you know what, I want to, I'm not going to go literally just around one block, I'm going to go around 3 blocks, right? And not as long as my normal morning walk, but I wanted to wake up a wee bit later today, and so I went out and I started running, and I just sprinted until I got on the loop, and then there's a wee hill. I got almost to the top, and I was like huffing and puffing, and then I got to the top, walked for a wee bit, and then I got back into jogging, and then came home, and I was like, okay, I've done something good. And, you know, this sets a baseline, do you know what I mean? Maybe later today I will have a walk. Maybe I'll go start a wee morning sprint. I don't know, because I've been feeling like I have been doing these morning walks, but as they've gotten longer and longer, I'm getting more and more tired, and I'm definitely feeling like the past few days I'm short on sleep, which is why I've been saying maybe episode 301, I might just skip that one.
Yeah.
You know, episode 301 will be the next day. It's not like there will be no 301, it's just that. But I don't know, it's kind of, I feel the need to have one day where I can just sleep in. But would I even be able to? That's another question. Because I found myself so often nowadays waking up before my alarm at 8:25 or 8:15, even though my alarm's at today it was at 9 o'clock. I set it like half an hour later, and still waking up all before it. But
that's a funny thing, because your body really gets used to things. Though trying to work out what your norm is also kind of weird. There was a time when I was so there was a time when I was living completely by myself, working from home for a couple of weeks. This was years ago. It wasn't to do with lockdown. But I found myself getting into a natural rhythm, because just for a while I didn't see anybody, and I found that I was naturally waking up at 6 a.m, and that was genuinely my natural wake up time. Though that did mean that I went to bed at 9 p.m. So. Oh, I have lost sound.
I think the issue is that I sometimes go to sleep late. Last night, we have dinner later than I'd like, and then we started watching this film which ended at 11:15, and towards the end of it, I literally fell asleep for a wee bit, and I was a bit annoyed because it's not like it was on Netflix or streaming or something like that. It was on TV, and so then it's like, what happened? I guess I'll have to look up on Wikipedia or something what the plot was. But yeah. Anyway, let's go into chats and see what Timmy and Rob are saying. Sorry about this. Sorry about not involving you. Timmy's been working on enemy ship AI, because for those who don't know, Timmy's working on a video game all about airships and blimps and steamships. It's Skies of something, or reminds us of the name if you want. And the enemy AI keeps blowing itself up. Need to tell its own cannon not to collide with itself. Yeah.
That's difficult. Yeah, how do you fix something like that? That must be quite tricky. Yeah. See, Rob and I are in agreement. It's a difficult thing and we need to sort it out.
But yeah, that sounds awesome, and I'm glad to hear that you're continuing on this. I'm looking forward to, maybe one day we can go for a playable version on the stream, like in a few months, once you've got something, some combat mechanisms or something going on. It'd be fun to try it one Friday. Rob says Rob started work on a game yesterday, winky face. I have heard about this game. I've been seeing updates of it on the Discord. And yeah, pie delivery game, this sounds super cool. Now, first mentorship meeting on Friday. Yeah, because Rob is also part of the same mentorship program that I am. I've been a mentor to, I believe, officially 4 people, although they all kind of ended in a weird way. Maybe because I'm not... Yeah, like, I did kind of contact people to say, hey, what time do you want it? But a lot of them ended up saying, hey, I've gotten everything that I need, and it's really helpful. One person ended up having to travel internationally, so we kind of maybe finished 1 week before we were due to. One person, it was like, oh, I've gotten everything. This was super useful, but that's it. I don't... And it's like, oh, well. But no, I'm now this time going in just as a mentee, and I'm really enjoying it. And I hope that you're having a good time with being a mentor, Rob. And Rob is also cooking bread in the oven, smelling good.
That does sound like a good idea. Yeah, we had some good cake yesterday. Had some very good ginger cake, like proper treacly ginger cake. And I was like, this is great. There's not enough left.
I love the sound of this. I like bread with bits in it. I like bread with seeds, maybe olives, maybe, something just to seep into the bread and give it a bit of flavor.
Ginger cake. It's all about the exciting baked goods, isn't it?
And, yep, Timmy, that would be great. Timmy is up even if it takes you a while to get to playable build, yep, it will be great to see what you come up with. I'm looking forward to giving it a go, and that applies to all the people who are regulars or who are becoming regulars. Yeah, if you have something that you are working on, like one day on the Friday, like just Friday's just to jump in, jump out. It's like you don't need to be here at the start, just or send me something and we'll give it a wee go. Talking more about bread. Rob's bread often has seeds and stuff in it. This batch is mostly white sourdough, but has a bit of rye.
Ooh, tasty. That's really tasty, actually. Seeds is good. I like things which are, poppy seeds on the top, sesame seeds, but also pumpkin seeds. I love pumpkin seeds in bread.
And Timmy says the game might be 20 gigabytes or more, which is quite a bit. I do have about 200 gigabytes free, so that won't be a problem to put it onto the laptop. But yeah, because I've not done any video editing since I got this, which is the thing that's really the graphics hog. I think I've just not felt up to it. So after I lost all my videos and everything with the laptop that was stolen before, because I had the laptop, stuff wasn't backed up, it got stolen, and yeah, I lost about, let's say, 6-7 years of memories and videos and work, and so that was really annoying.
Yeah, that's hard. That's really hard.
But anyway, Rob says, do you have a new font for your displayed messages today? Something is different. I was wondering if anyone would say anything. Did you notice anything, Jess?
No, I noticed nothing. I am not observant today, clearly.
Yeah, let me know what you think. Do you think it's better or do you have no preference? I spent a long time deciding between the three possibilities, and I decided that this was my favourite. And hello, Matthew Dunstan in the chat. It is lovely to see you. Oh yeah, I've still not run any backups on this laptop, which suggests that I am not good at learning from my mistakes, let alone other people's. But yeah, I really need to get a backup system sorted at some point, because otherwise I'll lose another couple years' work, which would be sad. But yeah, if you have any other recent highlights, feel free to let us know. Matt, let us know. What have you been up to recently? Have you been playing more of that Luck Be a Landlord, or which I think is the hot new game that all the kids are playing? And I say all the kids, although I don't know if I should really be calling Michael. I think Michael's older than me. I'm fairly sure, but it doesn't really matter. It's like just that. Oh,
it's a phrase.
Yeah. It's kind of, yeah, you're whippersnappers. But yeah, so yesterday, I'm just going to recap what happened yesterday before we start the main topic, I think. So if anyone has anything to shout about, you can. Otherwise, let's talk about brilliant things. Brilliant things. What's a little thing which is brilliant? Do you have a thing, Jess?
So I didn't actually come prepared, but the question is, have you had string yet?
I'm not sure I've had string. I actually had hair, and I was talking about how hair could be used as string. So I think that's a really good thing, because we need to remember that string itself and rope, I guess, should we put in rope into this as well? Although string is really better when it's a ball of string rather than a tangled mess.
Yeah, I mean, this tangled mess was created by a small child yesterday. But also, actually, string is great because I have been teaching my 4-year-old to do cat's cradle, which works relatively well. And I'm just wondering whether I can, yep. Hang on, hang on. Oh no, I've lost the end of that there. Is this going to work?
No. Oh!
There you go. There you go. One ladder made out of string. There we go.
So, why is string brilliant? I mean, tying up things is pretty useful. I
Yeah.
come back to the old you can tie up an umbilical cord.
You
We
can
actually
tie
use
up all
string for
sorts of.
that.
Can you? Oh, yeah.
Like, I mean, you need to tie it up in two places and then snip in between so that
Yeah. Yeah, and they
neither.
usually use the little they use the little plastic clips, I think, usually. But
Okay.
yeah. We have one
So yeah, I guess
somewhere.
medically you're better off doing that rather than having a bit of string that you need to put muscle into. But yeah, if you are on the side of the road and you are giving birth and you had some
Exactly.
string,
Yeah.
then hey,
String is good. Plus, string is used to tie those little pencils to voting booths, and voting is great. So, string is helping. String
mm.
string helps democracy. There we go.
And like yo-yos, I mean yo-yos would not exist without string.
Yeah, yo-yos are great.
Hmm. And yeah, like little suspended things. I mean, little
Mm-hmm.
signs in shops, with string above
Yeah,
them.
there you go.
And if
We've
you
talked
count
our way
rope,
into it.
I mean, rope is pretty awesome. Being able to abseil and bungee rope and
Yeah. Yes, and you can get all sorts of really cool knots with rope,
oh,
most of
and
which I don't know how
rope
to do.
ladders.
Yes, rope ladders. Not just
Hmm.
string ladders, actual proper rope ladders. Those are cool, especially if they lead to tree houses. Tree houses are great.
Although you could even make tiny little string ladders for squirrels and stuff, and that's pretty cool. It might not be functional for humans, but still. And
It'll work.
I think there is something good about string as opposed to rope because it uses less space, and sometimes you don't want, that thickness of rope.
Yeah.
Oh, there we
Certainly not
go.
if certainly not if you're tying up umbilical cords. That
Mm.
word is not coming out of my mouth today.
Or if you're tying up brown paper packages tied up with strings. Yeah.
Yeah, which are very exciting.
So these are a few of my brilliant things. And yep, if anyone has any questionably quick questions, feel free to chuck them in. I'll give you about 3 minutes to get your questionably quick questions out of the way. And we can just ask each other questionably quick questions. That's also allowed because, this is not a normal episode. So let's us start off. We're both in the UK. It's 10:28. Let's get that out of the way. Other people live in different places, but we are very British focused. What's the
So,
last country you've been to outside of the UK?
oh, I haven't been anywhere for ages. I mean, literally ages. It was probably France and Switzerland. France and Switzerland for me. I mean, I went on the train, so I went to France, then to Switzerland, then back to France. So yeah, it was good.
Hmm.
You, Bez? Where have you been recently?
I mean, you say recently, but outside of the UK, the last place that I was France when I went to Cannes, actually 2020. That's fairly recent considering that as of March, we couldn't really go around.
Exactly. That's really recent. That's super recent.
So yeah, that was good times. And I went to Avignon and I've got some great photos of Avignon. And I had this super expensive meal. I'd gotten my royalty statements, which I get at the end of January, and I was okay, I'm going to treat myself just to one nice meal. And that was the best, most expensive meal I'd had in a long time. So it was like just sitting in this restaurant and being like, you know what? I want something fancy. You know what? There's this fancy meal, and then there's this super hyper mega fancy meal, which is just like truffle with everything. It was like a 7-course meal, and like basically I blew my budget for quite a while, let me tell you. But it was so good, and all the flavors, and just sitting down, and yeah,
Being
just
out and having a meal, it's a rare experience nowadays.
oh yeah. Okay, someone wants to know hats or gloves, and I think this is the end of the 3 minutes have elapsed. So I am going to go with gloves because I wear them more often.
Yeah, I'm going to go with gloves. So
Mm.
I have a hat. You know, I might even have 2 hats, but I have like 3 or 4 different pairs of gloves, which are different colors. So.
Mm. Okay. Well, in the absence of any other questionably quick questions, sorry,
Hang
did you have
on.
something you really want
Yeah,
to ask?
I should ask you because we've talked about the weather with hat and gloves. We've spoken about where you went on holiday. We've talked about string and the post. Clearly, we've got to talk about something like tea or directions to somewhere. What are the most British things we can come to think of? When you went for your run today, which direction did you go in, Bess? Did you go north or did you?
I went east, then no wait, I went west, then south, then east, then north, then a bit more east.
These are the important things we need to know.
Okay, fair enough. And yep, you can feel free to comment, ask questions, and follow if you aren't already doing that. And we are going to be game jamming today, and that is what we are all about. Okay, I will allow this quick questionable question. I would go with Chinese.
I think we mainly have a Sam, which I'm assuming is Indian, but I'm not 100% sure. So, yeah, I think we drink a lot of Assam. We actually treated ourselves recently to a couple of the tins of a Royal Blend from Fortnum and Mason, which is actually better than most of the other tea we were having. So now I don't know if I can go back.
Okay, and so we've got one last question. Do you like Moon Mist ice cream? I have not had a chance to have Moon Mist ice cream, so I do not know, but I would very much like to try it, given how often you've talked about it.
Same here. I'd love to try it.
So, now we get back onto game jamming. So, let me do a quick recap of what happened yesterday. I said that the requirements, which you can check out in the Discord. Why is it not? Sorry about this. Rules and info. So the requirements are that it needs to be something playable on stream, but that 3 to 7 people can join in with. You can't have custom components for everyone, like fancy things. Can't be using Tabletop Simulator or Tabletopia. But what you are allowed to do if you want to, you can require that everyone prints, 1 sheet of paper if you need to do that. If you need to have stuff that people will probably have, like 4d6. Why do I 1, 2, 3, 4? Why do I have 8? And it's just a number that I happen to have in my little cup. These are the tiny little dice. Oh man, now one's scattered out.
Now you only have 7. No.
No, I found it. There we go.
Oh, good. Hey.
I can't actually show you these dice. They're too small.
Oh, wow. Those are tiny. Those are postable dice. That's what you should do next, Bez. You should have a game that you can send through the post.
Well, listen, that's literally every game.
Sorry. What I mean is really cheaply, like for the price of a letter rather than...
So not a large letter, just the standard letter.
Yeah, a standard letter game. That would be cool.
Oh. I mean, they are very restrictive. I wonder if these would actually... I did have an idea of having like a tiny little snakes and ladders that was maybe 5 by 5 squares, but it was like literally this size. And then you can make tiny little elephants out of emo and... Yeah.
We were playing a version of Snakes and Ladders the other day. So I created a new version for my daughter and her friends to play, where you use jelly beans as well. Basically, you collected jelly beans. So you had to work out whether you wanted to win the race and get to the top, or whether you wanted more sweets.
That sounds amazing. We need to get you back on like a Friday. Like, just come back on any Friday. Just like jump in whenever you want, and like we can have all the mad chats then, because
Talk
You're
about jelly
amazing, but
beans.
we do need to get
Yeah, we
on
do.
and start. So, summary. What did we summarize yesterday? That's it must be playable. You are allowed to have some custom components. For Jess's game, you need 4d6. If you don't have 4d6, then you can use a dice app on Google. If you say to Google, roll 4d6, then it will do that for you.
There's rolladie.net, which I'm on at the moment, which seems to work.
I mean, I'm going to type it in. Roll 4d. Yeah, if you just go into, where's my things, share my window. So literally, I just typed it. So if you roll, let's say I wanted to roll 60-12, you just type it into Google, roll 60-12, and he presto it, roll 60-12 for you.
That's great. Wow. I have
And
learned
roll
something
4d6. There you go.
Cool.
And then you can click on these little shapes to add them. But it does only have the standard polyhedra, so you can't get rid of some of those. And then you click roll to make them all roll again.
That's really quite pretty as well. I like it.
But yeah, anyway, we're trying to make it accessible to people. We're trying to make it so that people can play these games from the stream, just jump in without too much work. And I'm hoping that at least one of you watching the chat today will be up for playing Jess's game. And then maybe if we have a chance, my game. It must play 3 to 7 people. It must be able to play with 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7 people. If it plays better with a particular player count, that's fine. But if it plays more people, even better. If it plays fewer people, great. If it's like a multiplayer solitaire game that can play 1 to 100, then fantastic. But it must play 3 to 7. So if it's a party game, then cool. And yeah, that's the main points. Then we had these optional restrictions, which the optional restrictions were something where I said, choose like maybe 1, 2, however many of these you feel are interesting to you. So do you want to make a game about pie? A bonus if you've got creamy leek and cheese pie. Apparently, this was all written by Chris. Someone's asked if that's Chris's favorite pie. I do not know. I will have to ask Chris. 2, something nautical, whether it's a ship or sing R as much as you can, or maybe the motion of waves. I don't know. Maybe it's a sine wave. That would be like a out of the box way to interpret that. Convince people you're a dinosaur, or maybe you're convincing people you're an old person and you can't handle the internet. I don't know. Someone suggested yesterday, mime a turn. I love this. I really want someone to make a game about miming a turn. Whether that means, you're miming for a turn, or the more interesting thing to my mind, just to pretend that you're taking a turn, when in fact you're not taking a turn. And if someone says, hey, wait 10 minutes, I don't believe you're actually taking a turn. And you're like, yeah, actually I wasn't. You caught me. I mean, how interesting would that be? What would that game even be like? I guess the 3 people on stream would have to be kind of pretending to do something, or maybe they're right. I mean, I might at the end of the day kind of try and ponder something with that. The sounds of an animal, which is what I ended up pondering yesterday, where making noises and trying to work out what animal it's relevant towards. And no printed components. If you can have a game where people don't have to use the printer and don't have to use an image manipulator, that is a great thing. So those are the optional restrictions, and we have some requirements. So that is the setting in which Jess was coming up with a game. So Jess, tell us about this game.
So this game is called, it was called Dinosaur Camouflage Dice. It might be called Creatosaurus, actually. We might change it to Creatosaurus. And the idea is that you are trying to, you are a standard dinosaur, or maybe you're a human pretending to be a dinosaur. and you are rolling dice in order to get some dino upgrades of some sort. Now, you get dino upgrades by rolling 2 dice to get them. So obviously there are numbers 2 through 12. And they are things like wings and feathers and a beak and horns and claws and extra legs and flippers. So for example, you get, so if you roll a 2, you can claim some wings. Where's that? You roll a 3, you can claim some feathers, etc. But so we'll have 3 rounds of that, and then at the end of it, you see what everybody's claimed. But it's much more complicated than that, obviously. 2 things that make it more complicated than that. Firstly, you're rolling 4 dice, but you don't. Hang on. Let me reset. You're rolling 4 dice. You get the scores from 4 dice, but they are not all the dice that you roll. Now, there's going to be 3 or more of us. We're going to be like in a list or a virtual circle, and you know who your neighbors are. You swap a dice, 1 die with each of your neighbors. So if there's like a list, so say it's me, Bez, and Rob, then Rob and I are also next to each other. Then basically, Rob and I swap dice because we're next to each other on the list. Bez and I swap dice because we're next to each other on the list. Then Bez and Rob would also swap dice. So basically, yeah. So you end up with 4 scores. You'll probably need a pen and a bit of paper to keep score there. Oh yeah, I have a Google spreadsheet which would indicate where we are. The thing is that this game does need something like this, just so everybody knows what they are. There are your dinosaur upgrades. Then at the end, you get a score for what dinosaur upgrades you've got. Now, you don't get any particular score for having, particular ones. It's not like you get an extra point for number 2 or 12 or whatever. But if you have managed to get 5 dinosaur upgrades or things to make you look like a dinosaur, camouflage you as a human as a dinosaur, then, and the 5 are all in a row, so like they're 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, for example, you get 7 points for having 5 in a row. So you have 4 in a row, you get 5 points, 3 in a row, 3 points, 2 in a row, you get 2 points. But if you have more than 1 gap of more than 1 number, so basically you're allowed 1 big gap, because if you've got 5 in a row, then you've obviously got a big gap. 2 and 12 are next to each other, so it goes in a circle. So if you've got 5 in a row, you've obviously got a big gap. But if you've got 2 big gaps, then you get -1 point. And I'm hoping that will make perfect sense when we're all like there and we can see what's happening. So I think the first thing to do would be to see who wants to play, because people can play from chat, and it would be that I would type in the name of the person who wants to play, just so we know, who's in the list. So if we've got 2 of us there, who else would like to be playing this? You basically need a dinosaur. You need the dice rolling app, and
the sheets of paper that let you you record which numbers you've already collected.
Yeah, basically something
now,
just to
one
record
question
that.
I have about the rules: are you forced to take 2 pairs?
No, you're not forced to take 2 pairs. So if we play 3 rounds, then people could take 2 every time, or they could just take 1. So yeah, you're not forced to use all of your dice. You can only take 1 of these with 2 dice. You can't add 3 dice together. You can't say, oh yeah, I can make 10 with 3 dice. You have to take it with only 2 dice.
Okay. But you are allowed. So I was just thinking, given the negative, I can see how you could lock yourself into that at the start of the game. but towards the end of the game, you might be thinking, okay, I'm not even going to bother taking this.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, maybe in the real game we say that you have to take at least one, but let's try it where you don't have to take anything. There was another thought I had, and I don't know whether this will work or if it's making it too complicated, where when multiple people took something at the same time, then it wasn't available for the next round. But I think maybe that's a thing to think about later. You know, it feels like that's adding extra complication.
I mean, it's not really going to work if we don't get our third player, is it? But
Yeah,
that's totally fine. Rob, lots of love, but thanks for letting us know.
No worries.
But if anyone else feels, I think it should be fairly quick. Because we're playing 3 rounds. Although I do wonder if 4 rounds might be. But we'll try it with 3 rounds, and I expect that to take less than 10 minutes for sure. So if you're watching and thinking, oh, I'm able to sit down, I'm able to have a bit of fun, but I'm not sure if I've got the time, then why not? But in the absence of people playing it, could we do something where one of us plays as 2 players or even plays randomly as a player?
Yeah, we could definitely have that. So, for example, I have, I have 4 dice here, but I also have the dice rolling app. So, I could roll my 4 dice, but also roll them on the computer as well.
I mean, we could say that the computer always on the app moves the one on the left upwards and the one on the right downwards. And so there's no decision making there. And also the dice rolling app always matches the first 2 and the last 2. So like the first one plus the one that was given by the one person before it, and the last one with the one given by the person under it.
Okay, that would make sense. I mean, yeah, let's see if it can do that. Let's see if we can make that work. We might spend the whole time going, what would the computer do?
I mean, I can roll it separately here and say, let's.
Cool. So Why
and
don't
then
you
everyone
do that?
And then if the computer is doing it for completely randomly, then hopefully we will beat the computer. And if we can't beat the computer, then it's actually quite a useful test, because sometimes if you can't beat a 100% random player, it suggests that, hey, is there actually any skill in this game?
That is a very good point. Okay, so let's start that. So we're each going to roll 4 dice.
So I'm going to open a new thing for myself.
I think, Bez, actually, I think your 4 dice, it would be better if you didn't show me what they were for you.
Okay.
Because then
shall I roll them in my cup and and everyone can trust me?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I've got 4 dice. Okay, I'm looking at these dice and I'm thinking, okay, I'm writing down the numbers. Which one do I give to?
Yeah.
Okay.
And what has the computer got? In fact, why don't we have the share screen on the computer?
I was thinking that we would do the computer last once we've already decided what to pass.
Okay. Yep.
Oh, this pen is... okay, I've got that. And I'm going to give... Okay. I'm going to give you... How do we do this? In what order do we need to say?
So hang on, why don't I just say, why don't we just go around the players? So if I start, I can say, Bez, then I'm giving you a 4. Sorry, I'm giving you a 4.
Okay.
Giving the computer a 5.
Okay. And then the computer, and I had a 6114. I was giving you a 1 and the computer a 4.
So you're giving the computer a 4 and you're giving me a 1. Excellent.
And
then
then the first one goes up, which means that I get a 1 from the computer and you get a 4 from the computer.
Okay. Excellent.
And
right.
The computer has a 4, 1, which, just because of the way I write it, I'm just going to add up the 2 numbers for the computer which we gave it and the 2 numbers which it kept, which means the computer has a 9 and a 5 it scored.
9 and a 5. So the computer is going to go for, right, so then I say, okay, who's going for what dinosaur camouflage upgrade type things? We know that the computer is going for 9 and 5. So computer 9 and 5. Okay. Do you want to go first or shall I go first?
I think I'm going to go for 7 and 5, which is flippers and horns.
Okay. I am gonna... See, I have ended up with what I would count as being not great dice here. I am going to go for 9 and 6.
9 and 6. Okay. Doesn't seem too bad. Okay, so
yeah.
I'm going to roll these, by which I mean basically just drop them down and then they scatter because of the properties of these teeny tiny dice. You just drop it and then it bounces like crazy.
Okay, so we all roll again.
Yep, I have done my rolling. Oof. Okay. Okay, I've decided.
Right.
So we need to decide before we reveal, is that correct?
Yeah, we need to decide. So we need to decide which dice we're giving to which people.
Yeah. I've done that. Have you?
Yes, I have. So, so I'm going to give you, Bez, a 5.
Okay.
And I'm going to give the computer a 2.
Okay. I'm going to give you, Jess, a 6.
Uh-huh.
And I'm going to give the computer a 4.
Ooh.
And then the computer is rolling 4d6, and the first one goes to me, which is a 1. And then the last one goes to you, which is a 3.
Okay.
And the computer keeps 3 and 6. So the computer does another 9, which doesn't actually do anything under the current rules, and a 6.
So the computer can't get something twice, so it doesn't get that thing, but it gets a 6. Okay.
Exactly.
So the computer now has huge eyes. And what am I going to get?
Yeah, what am I going to do? I could go for... I think all I can really do with a 1, 5, 4, and 2 is go for the 6, because then that gives me the 5, 6, 7, which is pretty good.
Mine add together in a way that I'm not that keen on. Okay.
Okay, yeah, I'm going for the 5, 6, 7, even though it means that I only get to do one thing rather than 2 things.
So you're going for a 6 then?
Yes.
And I am going for an 8. And again, I'm only doing one thing. Okay, cool. We've got our dinosaur upgrade, our dinosaur camouflage.
Okay, so everyone's just done 3 things. Okay.
Cool. So roll again.
Okay,
and... Oh.
Interesting. Oof. Okay.
Okay, Bez, I am giving you.
Wait.
Oh, hang
I've
on.
not decided yet.
Oh no, sorry.
So, I mean, if you tell me what you're giving me, then I'll have more
Oh yeah,
information
true. I need to
to know
wait.
what to give away. I mean, I think that's the key thing. I mean, I do wonder whether we should be allowed to do it in turn order. Like, we can discuss that at the end. Let's just play.
Yeah.
But I'm going to give you, which is worse for you? Maybe that one. And okay, that one. Okay, I've decided. What were you giving me?
I'm giving you a 5.
Ooh,
Oh, is that good for you? Damn.
what are you
Never
giving the
mind.
computer?
A 3.
Okay. Now I'm giving you a 4 and the computer a 5.
Okay.
And now I'm going to roll for the AI, and we get, well, I get a 6, and you get a 6.
Okay. Interesting.
And the computer makes an 8 and a 5. So it can't do the 5 because it's already got it, but now it has an 8.
But now it can do the 8. Hey, the computer is actually doing relatively well.
9, 8, and 5, 6 gives it 4 points.
It does. It gives it 2 pairs, doesn't it? Okay, hang on. What am I doing with mine then?
I've got 6, 5, 1, and 3. I could clearly just go for the 4 and get. I can't do 8. Yeah, I'm going to get 4 in a row. So, no matter what. So I'm finishing up with 5 points.
Right. So I can go for the 7, which is the flippers, and I can also go for the 10, which is the sharp teeth.
Oh, you can do both of them.
I can do both of them.
Oh, no.
I can.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, okay, we've played 3 rounds. So, Bez, what does your dinosaur look like? Or how have you managed to camouflage yourself with your dino upgrades?
Okay, I have a beak, horns, huge eyes, and a flipper. And flippers.
Oh, nice. Okay. So I'm actually not that dissimilar. So I have huge eyes, flippers, I have scales, I have tail spikes, which someone on the Discord was saying that there's a proper name for the tail spikes. But I have the tail spikes, and I also have sharp teeth. So I've managed to get 7 in a row. Not 7 in a row, 5 in a row, which is 7 points. Yeah, 5 in a row. Hey!
So I'm just doing a wee bit of stretching time as suggested by Stream Elements.
Nice.
So,
oh, hang on. What did the computer get in that?
Oh, the computer got 5, 6, 8, and 9.
Okay, yeah, 5, 6, 8, and 9. So nobody lost any points. No one lost any points. The computer is a horned, big-eyed, scaly dinosaur with tail spikes.
Now, I have to. I mean, it's a nice wee diversion. Like, it definitely works, and it was quick to play. I'm actually going to check on the video because we are, of course, recording this, so we can. If I were to look at the video, check when exactly we started playing.
Yeah, it's not taken very long.
Although it did take about, I think, maybe 11 minutes and a half, I think.
Yeah.
Which is surprisingly which is surprising to me. It didn't feel that long, which is a good sign.
Yeah.
I thought it was like about 6 minutes or so. I mean, for sure, the fact that the computer didn't win is a good sign.
Yeah.
It suggests that we had some agency. We were able to do better than it. Getting 4 in a row, I think, should definitely be worth more than 5 points, because same with 3 seems a bit little to me.
Yeah.
But I mean, why not make 2 in a row 1, 3 in a row 2, yeah, then doubling it, that seems reasonable. 4 in a row needs to be a bit more than double 2 twos, I think.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
I don't know, like, if it were... I mean, my concern is that it feels like the basic strategy was always to just go in the middle. And maybe I shouldn't have started with the 7. Maybe that was a mistake, because I should have really been going for, okay, what I want is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and I just want to go for that. And you were like 1 higher than that, but it feels like the strategy is probably to not go for 7 on turn 1, kind of assume that you're going to get it on turn 2 or 3, try and go for 2 things either side of it. So I feel like I would alter things slightly, but it does feel like going for the middle is such an obvious thing, and I don't know if I would ever change that strategy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So maybe it could be that 2 and 12 do have an extra point on them. So if you have, 2 and 12, then you get an extra point. I mean, that could be one thing. But yeah, I'm feeling like that's, for something which has sort of, been come up with pretty quickly, there's something there. There's the seed of an idea. It works. It was not as long as we thought it was. No, sorry, it was actually longer than it seemed, which indicates that there's at least some fun in it. So yeah, I can see that might be a thing which worked.
Yeah, I feel like it's worth trying a second time, and also the fact that we were able to come up with a simple AI, given a little bit of technology. I think that's a really good thing, that we didn't need to make any decisions for the computer. Oh, and Rob lets us know the term adopted by the paleo community was thagomizer, but it was actually based on a Far Side cartoon.
Cool. See, that should definitely be in there. See, I feel like actually this kind of mechanism could really easily sit under anything. This isn't something which is tied to dinosaurs, is it? Dinosaurs are very cool, but actually, this is something where dinosaurs have kind of been put on the top.
Yeah, it's not very thematic at all. I mean,
nah.
I kind of forced myself to play along and say, oh yeah, I'm getting this and the other, but it's easier to just say, oh, I'm getting a 6 and an 8, and that's really how I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, it's really about rolling the dice.
Play again, just to I mean, it's a good sign. It's 5 minutes, so let's have another game.
Okay, cool. Let's have another game then. Let's see.
Sounds like a fun. Oh, I love this. This makes it
follow
perfect.
Up where you draw your dinosaur.
Yes. So after you've finished, everyone has to draw their dinosaur with those giant eyes and all those things.
Well, do you want to do that instead? Let's do that then.
Let's play a second game and then draw our dinosaur in advance of my game.
Brilliant.
Because that would tie in perfectly.
Brilliant. Okay, let's have another game then. So, let's all start by rolling 4 dice.
Rob suggests drawing during play. Do you want to do that for this game?
Yes. Yes, I think we can do that.
Okay, I've got some wee bits of paper.
That doesn't look too bad.
And this is perfect because I also set up this
The other camera. Right. Okay. So roll your dice and decide. Let's not change any of the rules, like putting extra points next to whatever. Let's just.
But we've changed the rules that you need to draw during the thing.
Yeah, that's true. You need to draw during the thing. So we've got that extra rule. Okay. So.
Okay, I need to roll my dice. I say roll. It's more like pour them down. Okay.
It is, isn't it?
Okay. Okay. Okay, I have decided. Have you decided?
I have decided. I'm just putting down here as well. So, if you've decided and I've decided, do you want to go first, Bez?
Sure.
What
I'll go first this time. So I've got to 4, 4, 1, 5. I'm going to give you a 1, and the AI gets a 5.
Okay. Okay. 1. Cool. Okay. And I am giving you a 4, and the computer gets a 2.
Okay. And then I'm going to roll for the computer, and I get a 6. Oh, not liking that.
And so do I.
Yes, you do. And the computer gets a 3 and 6, which gives it a 7 and a 9. Jess, Bez, and AI. So the AI doesn't get to draw, but it's got a 7 and a 9. I have no option because now I've got a 6 and 3 4s. So if I want to draw anything, then I've got to have sharp teeth and scales.
Yeah.
Scales is a difficult one to draw because you've got to know the shape of the body before you...
Yeah. That is tricky, actually. So I am going to claim... Let's see. I'm going to claim 6 huge eyes and 8, which is scales.
So if I go for sharp teeth and sharp teeth are all I'm drawing, so I'm not allowed to draw the mouth or anything around it, I guess. But then how do I draw the scales without having the body?
I'm not sure. I think maybe you can draw them towards the end. I mean, I'm also drawing scales, and I'm kind of drawing some around my huge eyes.
Okay, maybe I've got to start... These look like feathers, but they're actually meant to be scales.
This is what I've got so far.
I'm going to...
Those are my scales. I don't think they're particularly good scales. But that's what I've got. I've got huge eyes and scales. And I've kind of added in a couple of little ears because I'm like, I don't know, maybe we're going to have ears. Who knows? Do dinosaurs have ears? Not really. Nah. Oh, well.
Okay, so next one. Let me roll my dice for round 2.
Okay, here we go.
Oh no! I've got... That's annoying.
You've got something that doesn't make any sense?
No, just I've got 3 of a kind.
That's a bit tricky, isn't it?
At least I don't have 4 of a kind. At least I've got a decision to make.
You ended up with 3 of a kind last time. Sod's Law will swap, and then you'll be like, hang on, you've swapped exactly the same one.
Okay, I've decided.
Okay. So, I have also decided.
Okay, what am I getting?
Bez, you are getting a 1, and the computer is getting a 2.
Jess, you are getting a 1, for which I got 1 in return, and the computer is getting one of my many 3s.
Okay.
And then let me put
Let's see
this
what the
camera
computer
on.
does.
And the computer
You
gives
get
me a
a
1.
1. Oh no.
And you a
And me a
2.
2. Which is, funnily enough, what I gave the computer. So, hang on, my dice don't change at all. Okay.
And the computer has 5 and 6.
Mm.
And I have a 3-3-1-1. And the annoying thing is that with an 8 and a 10, and only 3 rounds, yeah, I have to do D6.
Right. Okay.
Quickly.
So, I am going for a 7 because I can, but the other I have to go for a 3. So I'm getting feathers to go with my scales. And I'm also getting flippers.
Okay, so what was 6 again? It was huge eyes. And I do like what Rob suggested, which is starting with maybe just a stick person and then...
Mm.
And you're kind of drawing these things on top of a humanoid shape. Actually, probably a stick person isn't the right way. You'd probably want more of an outline of a human.
Yes.
Yeah, I would say like not circles and stuff, but probably let me
I'm going to get a pencil to draw an outline of some sort. Hang on. Basically an outline of a meeple, right?
Well, a more realistic human.
Can I draw realistic humans? I'm not sure.
Like I don't know, something like that.
Okay.
I mean, should we restart? Should I now draw the teeth and the big eyes on that?
I don't know. I'm trying to work out whether I should do that with mine. I might do that with mine. So I'm just going to turn over the page and draw it on the other side. So.
And then I've get to draw all the scales. So yeah, now the scales kind of make sense because you've got somewhere to put them.
Yeah.
See, mine already looks like lizard person. I feel like I'm pretending to be a dinosaur quite well. This is fun. I like this addition.
Drawing the dinosaur. Dinosaur camouflage.
Cratosaurus is a good name, though.
It is. It is a good name. I think we'll keep that.
By the way, if anyone in the Discord who's claimed a channel wants me to rename their channel, like if you want me to rename yours, Jess, I'll do it right now. Okay, so that is my... See, it's totally a dinosaur.
I think mine is less of a dinosaur, but never mind.
Okay, let me...
This is how mine's going so far. Where's my camera? It's got flippers and feathers on the head and scales and big eyes. I'm really unsure about that. Okay, so...
You probably want... Like, it also gives you a direction for what kinds of bits you want. And,
yes.
like, you probably want, like, claws and, like, what kind go on a human. Like, oh, you've already got claws as number 12. But, yeah, you just want to add a tail. It's not upgrading your dinosaur. It's, like, just having a tail in the first place.
Yes, maybe that. Because actually, the thing is that you can't really have flippers and claws. You could, but it would look really ridiculous. So that's why one is at 7 and one is at 12. And also, you can't really have flippers and wings. I mean, that would just look silly. Okay, so we've got...
Yeah, take the flippers out and...
Oh, no. Right, okay. Let's roll again then.
Okay.
We've got one more
and
to
thank
go.
you very much, Timmy. I assumed that Timmy's saying wow about how the dinosaurs are going. Oh, this is ridiculous. I rolled 3 of a kind again.
I have rolled 2 of a kind. I've got 2 2s and a 1
I'm
and a
not
4.
enjoying
Your dice are not being kind to you. You've got to be more creative somehow.
Oh, I'm just not trying hard enough with
luck. What is the number that you rolled so I can be sure not to give you that one? If you like. No.
So I've decided. Have you decided?
Hang on, I'm trying to work out what I need now. What have I got on here? I've got 3, 6, 7, 8.
I think
3, 6, 7, 8. I need.
I think I'm going to lose to the AI, which is kind of sad.
So I really want to keep all of my dice, but of course I can't, because they would be perfect if I could keep them all. So yes, I've decided.
Okay. So Rob suggests, what if you have 3 or more of a kind? You can flip some of them.
Yeah.
So
that would be kinder.
I could turn it to its opposite face.
Yeah, that would be good. Let's do that.
Or what if
you could just re-roll
before you swap?
Yeah, I think only before you swap. Or you could re-roll. Flipping is good though. I like flipping because it guarantees that you're getting something else.
I like that idea. In which case, I am going to flip and I'm going to keep that. And what do you want? Okay, so I'll give you... And so presumably you can only flip the ones that you have 3 or 4 of. Is that correct?
Yeah. You can only flip ones that you have 3 or 4 of.
So if you've got 3 of a kind and 1 of another, you can't. Yep. Okay.
You can't flip the other. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Who do I give that to? I'm going to give it to Jess. Okay. So I've decided.
Okay, I've decided too. Shall I go first?
Yep. What am I getting?
Bez, you're getting no, not a 3. You're getting a 4. Sorry, I misread it. A 4. Have you given me a... I rolled 3 4s for the record. Oh no!
No, but it's all good because I was able to flip one of them. So this was just before you swap. So I did end up with a 4 and a 3. But I gave you a 6 and the computer a 4. What did you give the computer, Jess?
A 1.
Okay, a 4 and a 1. So the computer has already got to 5. That's all good. So the computer doesn't get anything there. And now we roll for the computer.
Yeah.
And you didn't see it, but I did just roll. And
oh, I get a 1 then.
I get a 5. And Jess gets 1. And the computer gets a 2 and a 2. Oh my gosh. Which gives the computer a 4. That's very nice.
So I basically now have to choose, do I want a 4 or do I want a...
Oh, boom!
Oh no, I can't get a 5. I've got to have a 4. Okay, I am getting
That's
a B.
amazing.
What, for you or the computer?
Just what I just got. So I managed to end up with 5 of a kind. I had 3 with 1 space in between them. And then these 2, I managed to get the 7 and the 9. I was fairly sure I'd get the 7 at least. Because it's so likely. But even so, I am so chuffed with that. And so, yeah. Now I'm just going to. What is 7 and 9 according to the? It is flippers and tail spikes. Yeah, I don't even have a tail. That feels sad.
Maybe when we say tail spikes, we actually mean, a tail with spikes rather than just spikes to go on a tail.
Where's mine? And flippers. I don't know how to draw flippers. It's
oh, they can't be any worse than my flippers.
Wait, I guess it's kind of like that. Looking a bit more like a frog, though.
Yeah.
Like a lizard.
I can tell you, yours is more convincing than mine is, I'm sure.
And let me just. Oh wait, because I've got the tail, do I get to draw scales on the tail as well?
Yeah, you could draw scales on the tail.
This is actually a really nice game. I'm really enjoying it.
Okay, so that's yours. Here is mine.
Wow, that really looks monstrous. It's quite scary.
So I've got a beak and feathers on my head. I just decided to do like feathery plumes because I've also got flippers, which makes no sense. But, there you go. That's how it works. So I've got 3 and 4. Yeah, basically big bird with flippers. That's what I've got. And scales. So I've got 3 and 4, which are next to each other, but then I've got 6, 7, 8. So under that, I get, so were we to be using the same scores instead of voting, then I'd get 3 and 2, so that's 5. And Bez, have you got 5 in a row?
Yes.
Ta-da! So you'd get
Which
7.
gives me 7.
Yay! And the
computer's got 4, 5, 6, 7, 9.
4, 5, 6.
Which
7.
gives it's 4 in a row, which gives it 5.
Hey. Okay.
Which does mean that playing randomly, it was able to tie with me.
It's just as good as me playing randomly. Yeah. So I think we'd probably need to introduce, extra points for, for how well you drew your monster, or, vote for what's the most convincing dinosaur or whatever.
I've got to admit, I'm really enjoying the drawing aspect.
So maybe it's not scored at all. Maybe it's just share your pictures at the end and see which one that you like. Oh yeah.
Hey, wait a minute. What? Man.
So Jess gets better than the computer, not Jess wins.
Man.
I know, you're being done down here. Done down by your own chat guests.
So, well, apparently, big birds with flippers, it just captured the imagination of Rob. If Rob is 2 votes, then Rob votes for you. What?
Thanks, Rob.
In all seriousness, I don't think there's anything wrong with having a scoring system, but I think that, this drawing, have both.
Yeah.
Have both, and with these scores, I would say more than one gap of more than one number. You don't really need that.
No, people have been avoiding that, haven't they?
These scores, 2 in a row could be, I don't know, does it even need to be super I'm just thinking what would make sense to me, and also make
Yeah.
it simple. Because if you wanted to go super simple, you could have 1, 2, 3, and then 5. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, so I'm thinking perhaps, yeah, perhaps if I just take out that completely for the minute.
Because yeah, I think 1, 2, 3, and 5 might actually work. Because then 3 is definitely more efficient than 2. 4 is definitely more efficient than 2. Is 4 more efficient than 3? Because 2 divided, so you're getting 2/3 or 0.67 points per placement, and 3 divided, yeah, so they do get continually more efficient, which is what you
Yeah.
want.
Yeah.
Um,
Cool. Yeah,
I
that
think that
works.
works. And then that's a really simple scoring system.
Yeah.
And then it's basically like a game for, hey, let's all draw a dinosaur
Yeah.
on, and then he starts off with just on a bit of paper drawing a vague jelly baby shape. Because I
Yeah.
think that drawing a vague jelly baby shape did actually really make it thing. And then for sure, I would concentrate on all of the things working on the same kind of dinosaur, and assuming that people are going to go with the, I would say that, yeah, feathers and scales. I mean,
Yeah,
I
I
would
think
say that,
perhaps, yeah, taking out some of these things, because I deliberately kind of tried to make things kind of the opposite end of the number spectrum. But actually, I think making sure that everything can work is probably better.
and hello, Kelly Lee and Ben, who just
Oh,
popped in. We have just finished playing Creatosaurus, which is a game that Jess invented yesterday.
it
And
is. You need 4 dice and a bit of paper, and it's working quite well. Oh, yeah, this is Bez's Saurus. So hang on, what does your dinosaur have again? It's got huge eyes.
big eyes, sharp teeth, scales, and this sharp pointy tail and
Tail
flippers. Although you
spikes.
can't
Yeah.
really tell that they're flippers.
Webbing, maybe.
Yeah, I kind of thought, okay, they're kind of. I was inspired by frogs. I was trying to think, what's the flipper? And I was thinking of like those human flippers.
Yeah,
Whereas you went for like the big giant flippers.
I did. Mine are just slightly ridiculous. There we go. And feathers on the head. What are those creatures which have feather, sort of those water gecko-y type things that have little feathery things on their head? Maybe it's like that. I've forgotten what they're called. Maybe it's one of those.
And
Yeah.
yeah, like Time's Up has an actual scoring system, but the times, sorry, not Time's Up, Telestrations. Telestrations, I'm not sure if you're aware. Most people who play
Yeah.
it aren't even aware that it has a scoring system. And actually, the scoring system, it incentivizes what you're ostensibly trying to do, which is to try and match the previous thing, what it is, but
Yeah.
it's super complicated. No one bothers with this. But with this one, I think that, yeah, it's kind of feels like there's a simple game, and I would pay attention to the scoring, but then you forget about it. It reminds me of actually Nano Muckle, where Nano Muckle, okay, you might get anywhere between, I think people have scored as low as 7. The top score possible is 16, which I'm sure Alex has scored on a couple of times. And then you kind of play that a few times, and then at the end, it's like, okay, who won each game? I can't remember. Like, I've got it written down here.
Yeah.
Oh, you won the first game, I won the second game, and I'll probably remember because I've got it written down. If I wanted to find out, I'd be like,
Yeah.
okay, it's in my notebook of Bbbb stuff. But
Yeah.
it, like, honestly, yeah, I had horns and a spiky tail, so I win. Fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe
Yeah.
like, I wonder if, yeah, like, it definitely feels like a fun game. I've enjoyed it. Ben or Kelly Lee, if you are interested in trying it, then we could play it to third time. I would be totally up for that. Since we added the drawing, it's like, yeah, this has totally changed everything. And just to show you, this is what I started with, which was when, and if I'd carried on with this, how would it have gone? I'm actually trying to remember the order in which I got
Perhaps
things.
more like lizard-like somehow.
Yeah,
But
because I would have been. Then I think I got flippers, and so then I would have gone, okay, here's a big flipper.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even know what flippers look like. I'm just basically drawing tentacles. And then a horn, spiked tail, and what was the other thing? Spiked tail and
teeth. Had you done teeth yet? Oh no, you
Yeah.
did teeth first.
Teeth and 5.
No, that's it. Huge eyes, flippers,
Oh, I
scales.
got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. You've
Okay,
got the
so I just
scales
get
and the
the
eyes.
sharp teeth. So I guess that is my dinosaur if I had drawn it as we went along rather than, but starting this kind of looks a wee bit less like a dinosaur and more like a monster, which I'm not saying, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but
we were gonna make them make noises as well, weren't we? Or not?
Oh, in my game. Don't say what your dinosaur would sound like yet, because that's not how, then you're cheating for my game. Right. Then we can't play my game if you say what your dinosaur sounds like.
I'm not gonna say.
It doesn't matter what things are meant to look like, it's about the interpretation, says Rob. Okay, and yeah. Ben and Kelly Lee from the Game Cupboard says, games like that are lovely sometimes, just playing for the pure fun of it. And yeah, don't get me wrong, again, if you would like to jump in. Otherwise, I think at this point we're going to discuss this, and discussion is as important as the playing itself. But if you want to play a third time, if you want to jump in a game, Kelly or Lee or Ben, it takes about 5 minutes. Hello, Euro, lovely to see you. And so at the start, I've got to admit, I was feeling a bit down on this game because it felt a wee bit too simple. Because it's like, okay, you go for the middle, it's very luck-based. I feel like I'm not doing that much better than Robots, which is just pure chance what it does. And I'm not feeling super engaged with it, but I'll give it a second go to try and understand it a wee bit more. But with the drawing, this is a really nice way to express myself. It feels like, I would like to have, I don't know if you can lean into that a wee bit more. Like, what if you've got 5 dice, okay? And then also, this might actually make the game a little bit nicer as well. So you've got 5, right? And then you roll 5 dice. You give 1 to your left, 1 to your right. And then with the 5 remaining, okay, you've got 1 pair, which gives you 1 attribute. And 1 pair, which gives you another attribute. And then you tick those attributes off on a little... And you record those numbers. But also the 5th die, it kind of is a bonus thing that you can draw. So you don't actually score for it, but you get to draw it.
Or maybe you can... so either you can draw it but not have it scored at the end, like you said, or maybe
No, I wasn't meaning like a 1 to 6. I was meaning like actually a separate table.
Okay, yeah.
So like there's 1 table for the 2d6, and there's 1 table for the 1d6.
Yeah. So you've got an extra thing, and they're like smaller things, like ears. Or, I mean, actually, maybe things like flippers should be in there. Things which you probably wouldn't want, but you might do. Or feathers or whatever.
I would actually think more things that go with anything. It's like feathers is like a big upgrade. That's okay. You're going to spend like a minute drawing like the feathers all over your dinosaur. But like I was thinking like, okay, you've got like I don't know, a big chunky dinosaur leg. And then, you could end up with
Mm.
2 big chunky dinosaur legs, or 3 big chunky dinosaur legs, or even 4, I don't know. Or maybe like a huge claws on 1 foot, but it's only 1 foot. So these are like the 1d6 things are the things that you probably want to get multiple times. I don't know.
Or maybe it's scenery around it.
Oh, I like that.
So, so you can do it and you can be like, okay, and my dinosaur is sitting by a lake, or my dinosaur has, trees to eat, something like that.
Although, I
It
like
sounds like more
focusing on
stuff
the
to.
dinosaur. I like it being on the dinosaur. I was just kind
Yeah.
of thinking, like, if you scored spikes a second time, maybe you don't score any points for it, but you just get to draw more spikes. I don't know.
Yeah.
You just but
What
then you
if?
haven't
Yeah.
already drawn as many spikes as you want the first time.
What if actually you could save that die, that 5th die, for later? So you write it down somewhere, you save it for later, and then next round, you might be able to pair it with your 5th die then. So you could potentially get more stuff.
I mean, but then if you've got to use it, that takes away from the luck mitigation. Because so there's 2 new rules with luck mitigation. One is that if you've got 3 or more of something, you're allowed to flip them to the opposite side.
Yeah.
The other rule is that I'm proposing, you don't need to accept this. That's totally okay if you don't. That with a 5th die, then you've only got to pick 4 of them. And so then that means that, although that might take it away from being this simple thing, and that might make it. And firstly, that's totally okay. Kelly, Lee, or Ben apparently still in sleepy mode, slept in late. That's totally fair. And Stream Elements reminds me to stretch and turn around.
Turn around. I mean, I think it would be. I mean, this is the sort of thing where this kind of game, when you've got something which is on a stream, it's kind of dependent on the people. So it might be that actually you have a basic game, but then you have extra things, and you say, okay, okay, folks, today do we want to play with drawing double up things, so you can double up the spikes, or today do we want to play with drawing scenery, or today do we want to, so there's like loads of house extras that you can add in, as it were, or colors even. Maybe today we can draw with colors.
And good night, Timmy. Sleep well. So Timmy is in Nova Scotia, so it's very late there.
Yeah, it would be, wouldn't it? Yeah, because it's like 11:30 here, so must be the early hours of the morning.
Yeah, it says a board game trading and chats UK shirt. There you go.
Yay!
Big cuck. I like to abbreviate it, but I think that was kind of just an idea from. And again, like we started off the stream talking about how you can have different games starting from seeds, or you can take an entire branch of a game and branch it out. And this very much feels like you could go 2 directions. Like you could go the I feel like the second game we played there, by the time we added in the Jelly Baby thing, I feel like that was a solid game.
Yeah.
And I feel like you've already got something really good. I think if you've got time and energy, it might be worth pondering, like, how can I further push this drawing aspect? Maybe even simplify the bits in the middle further. Maybe it's, maybe it's 3d6 and it's completely flat distribution. It's just even more luck. So you've got 3 dice, push 1 up, 1 down, keep 1 of them, and then you draw those 3 things.
Yeah, it could be that. I mean, that could be that. I mean, definitely. I think the bit which I wasn't sure whether it would work would be the giving dice to your neighbours bit. you know, giving one to one side and one to the other. But actually, that wasn't too much of a faff at all. You know, that worked quite well.
With
3
the
players,
few
it was
of us
fine.
on, I wasn't sure about it at all either, and I
Yeah.
think that in chat it would kind of work as long as everyone remembers who their neighbours are.
Yeah, it would definitely be on somebody to remember who their neighbours are, and so we'd need this. You know, we'd need a list somewhere where people could go, oh yeah, I'm giving to so and so and so and so. But I think that would be fine, you know, as long as you had a list, and it could literally just be one there, you know, so there we know, you know, who the list is. But if there was someone else in there, it'll be fine.
And if it said like the game cupboard is number 4, then
yeah,
Kelly, Lee, and Ben are like, oh yeah, I'm giving this one to the computer, this one to Jess, and with the 3d6, if you were passing a d6 left and right, that would definitely change the game, because you're not only just. I was thinking to myself, okay, I'm going to start off giving you the ones because you don't want the low numbers, and then at the end I was like, okay, do I give you 4? Do I give you 6? And it's like, okay, let me try and work out what's worse for you. And there would definitely be more mean moments where I'm like, okay, I'm going to give you this thing that you already have, and tough, and so you get less variety. But maybe that's okay. Maybe saying, okay, you've got claws, and now you've got to draw more claws. And then you've got to draw more claws. It doesn't give you any points, but you just get to, at least you get to draw more claws. And eventually come up with a weird, kind of monstrous dinosaur where it's got... I mean, if I had to draw more flippers, how would that go? It would be like, okay, I'm drawing...
Extra flippers? Yeah, like super webbed hands.
Yeah, like extra flippers. And then maybe I draw flippers a third time, I don't know, and maybe the flippers are coming out of the back.
Yeah, exactly. You then have basically a winged creature, which are, you know, so they're not real wings, they're water wings. There you go. It works somehow.
I mean, I definitely think there's more ways to play it, and for sure, if you want to come back on the Wednesday and or the Friday, and of course the Saturday is the official end of the thing. So for those who don't know, the reason that I made it a week isn't to say you must spend a week on it. It's not to kind of be like you must, but like if you want to just spend a bit of time on it, like, you know, this is a lovely thing, and just through the process of, you know, the hours that you spent on it last night and then playing it today, and we've ended up with, like, you know, we've had input from Rob, like, and it's been like, I would say this has been like, you know, massive chunk from you in terms of how it plays, and then Rob came up with this idea that totally changed it with how about actually drawing it, which completely changed it, and then like I'm now chucking in ideas because of what it's now become, and
like, this is cool. It works.
Yeah.
Cool.
And
thanks, Bez.
No, thank you for sharing with us. And yeah, now I guess I will quickly draw some things. And if you want to draw some more things, then we can play a quick game about guessing what different creatures would sound like.
Oh, okay. So a creature, a monster.
Yeah, so the rule is that it has to have mouth and or legs. It doesn't have to have both. And yeah, I agree with Rob there. Great work, 100%. This one's going to have all the eyes. Well, not all the eyes, just however many that is. That is a creature. Oh, one of them's upside down because of the way the paper is. I guess I'll have to divide them. let me try and raise this up a tiny bit. Yes, I'm going to remove that for the moment just to avoid people getting motion sickness. There we go. Okay, I think, is that work? Yep, I've got to put, yep. I think it's working. I probably should have made these a wee bit smaller. I see I originally made it an 1/8 of a page, and so also what I'm feeling is that
nice. I like those monsters.
So we're going to give them numbers in a red pen, because why not?
Oh yeah. Make it clear.
1. Does that? Can you read that number 1? Not really.
No, not really. If it's big, yeah. Go over it a couple of times, maybe.
Maybe I'll go over it with a pencil. Oh, my pencil needs sharpening. That's sad. Hold on, just give me a moment. I will find my bag of pens. Bag of pens. This is my bag of pens, and I've got some colors in my bag of pens.
Hurrah!
Bold. B for bold. There we go. 1, 2.
Oh, nice. Yep, we can see that really clearly.
4, and let me five and 6, and let me go over this. Okay, so the way this is going to work is that we will take turns, Jess, being the 2 noisemakers, and I will keep score somewhere. Where's my pad? Okay, I'll keep score on my pad of paper, which is... And I'll be playing, and Jess will be playing, and hopefully at least one other person. You can play for literally just 1 round, and each round is about 30 seconds. So there's no commitments here. I roll a die. I decide which one I'm trying to make the noise of. And now I have to make a noise, and everyone has to guess which thing I'm making the noise of. Now, don't say yet in chat. You know, listen to the noise, and then I'll say, okay, 3, 2, 1, and then type the number. And so you're going to all type it or guess it at the same time. Okay, this noise is going to be... And so, yeah, that is the noise. Do you have an idea?
I do. Do you want me to chat it? I will keep it in my head.
Oh, are you actually in the... So, yes, if everybody in the chat, if you've got an idea of which of these 6 creatures might make the noise, then get ready to type it and press enter. 3, 2, 1, now. Just make a guess. So, the idea is that... Okay. So Jess told me secretly via private chat
Because I can't work out the other one.
No, it's just one creature.
Okay. No, I mean, I can't work out how to do the normal chat.
Oh, yeah.
Aha.
So, the way the points work is I get a point if, and it does occur to me that we need at least 4 people for this game, which maybe doesn't quite work, because if it needs a majority, and if there's only 3 people and there's only 2 people voting, then
hang on, we've got another. So hang on, we've got another one.
Yeah, I see the game cupboard. But let's talk about that afterwards, okay?
Yeah.
I've come to realize that this game might be breaking my own rules for the game jam. It might not be playable with 3. But let's carry on anyway. So, everyone who voted for the majority, and Jess did vote for 4. You can't see that, but it was totally in the private chat that Jess and I can see. So, Jess and the games cupboard, so I'm going to put TGC, and Jess and the games cupboard get 1 point because you voted with the majority. I was actually aiming to do number 1. Yeah, I probably should have made it a bit more bouncy or joyful, I don't know. But, so now what happens is these 2 things go away. And we have 2 more pictures, which does make me realize that we probably needed to, ignore, where's the other ripped up paper that I had a moment ago? Here. So we probably needed to draw more things at the start of the game in the preparation step. Nah, you don't get a point, Rob. You're wanting to be ubiquitous. You want... It's... Although I know that Rob's just trolling. So, now, Jess, you are going to be the noisemaker, and you're going to roll a die to decide what creature you will be making the noise of.
Okay.
But wait until I've drawn a couple.
Yeah. Yes, until there's a 1 and a 4.
Here's the number 1. And here, what should I do for number 4? Maybe a flying chair or something. I don't know. But it's got to have eyes, so... And... Okay. Can sort of see all of them?
I can see them all. Oh, hang on. Right. So the noise is...
Okay. So that noise, which of the creatures would be making that noise? And in your own mind, think which creature would be making that noise. So Jess, could you make that noise again? Okay, if everyone's got something in mind, just type one of the numbers, whether it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. So get ready to chat. I'm going to put mine into the private chat, so I'm really struggling between a few, and I'm going to go with that one. But everyone get ready to press 3, 2, 1, press enter now. So what do you think was making that noise?
So I've got Bez's, but what about the others?
Okay.
And is there going to be one from anyone else?
Oh, okay.
Okay. So So I can reveal that it was indeed number 6.
Yes. And so that means...
So Bez got it right, and Rob also got it right.
So, because we got it right, Jess gets a point.
Hey!
We don't get right for getting a... We don't get a point for getting it right. We get a point for being with the majority. So Rob and Bez gets a point for being the majority, and Jess gets your second point, as in you got a point last round. So Jess is now in the lead.
Ooh!
Everyone else has 1 point. And this one goes away. I was like, you know what? That does look like it's a bit scared or something going on.
There was definitely some floating going on there, wasn't there?
I mean, now I don't see this as a floater, though. I see it as, hey, look, it's got 2 little feet.
Oh, maybe it's got, I don't know. It's definitely a different type of monster.
Okay.
Oh.
This is the new number 6. Do I need to... I guess I might as well write the number on it.
Yeah.
Or maybe placements kind of shows which number it is anyway.
Yeah.
I'll do a number just for clarity. Okay, so it's my turn. I roll a die. And... Oh, okay. Okay, this is my noise. This laugh was just from me, not from the monster.
That is brilliant.
So you're not allowed to obviously make English speech, but you're allowed to keep going for as long as you want. And Rob makes a good point that in practice, especially if this were a game with real cards, but then the question is, like, should these be... Yeah, you probably want to arrange them. Like, you just say, okay, it's top left, like, arranged in a row from 1 to 6. Yeah, maybe you've got counters. And so now everyone, if you've got an idea for what might be making the noise, then we could totally do that. Anyway, so get ready to type what number you think that this should be, and we'll maybe play 4 rounds of this because that feels reasonable. So go for typing in 3, 2, 1, press enter, and type in your number. So what creature is making that noise? Okay, I've got Jess's answer, I've got Rob's answer, and yes! You've
got another one.
Hello, Tom! We've got a new entrance. Hello, Tom, it's lovely to see you. And you have managed to win your first point. So Tom's got a point, the game cupboard's got a point, and Jess has a point because Jess also voted for number 1. And I get a point because I managed to get everyone to correctly, except for Rob, to correctly identify this. Congratulations! And so basically this is another game where you don't want to be a unique snowflake. It's kind of sad, Tom, like Rob. Now,
one more monster.
Die, and I will draw something. I don't know what I'm going to draw, but maybe it'll have a Bigfoot. And an eye. Yeah, it's like that's the monster. I am starting to wonder, like, for a typical group, how easy is it to come up with just monsters, like, ad hoc? Do you know what I mean?
This might be something where actually you want a pack of, say, 20 monsters, then a
I
whole
would,
load of blank cards.
I would think a lot more. I would just think a deck of monsters
But if you had,
because
say, half of it being monsters already filled in and the other half being blank cards, maybe, so people could put their own in, or maybe that's an expansion pack.
now, like, if you want to draw your own, you can just play it with bits of paper. But it's if you need pre-drawn monsters, then yeah, maybe that's something that I should actually do on a print on demand. Like, would you like to have 55 monsters that have spent a tiny bit more effort drawing than these ones? Like,
Cool.
so
Okay.
anyway, have you rolled your die?
Yes, I have, and I have a monster, and it is going. And also, that's the noise.
Okay. Let's see. I'm going to type in the private chat. Oh, it's really between a few of them for me. I don't know, but I'm going with that one.
Okay.
And if in the chats you've got some idea, like just type in a number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. You've got a 1 in 6 chance, hopefully slightly better than that, because you might be able to infer what Jess is trying to get us to guess. So yeah, get ready to type your number in and press enter in 3, 2, 1. Press enter. Okay, and once we've played this round, then 4, and okay, Rob is lurking. So
It wasn't. It was 5.
okay, so what happens now is Tom and Game Cupboard and I all get a point because we all voted with the majority.
Yep.
And so basically you failed. You were just not good enough at getting
Not
us.
good enough. No.
I was actually thinking it might be 1 or 5.
Yeah,
Or
5 was the
potentially
answer.
2.
Yeah, it could have been any of them, really. But 5 was the one.
Nah, I don't think 3 or 6 would be making that noise.
Probably not. So.
But, you know, that's the thing. You don't guess. I mean, this is the kind of game where it could really break down if people were going to be jerks about it. You know what I mean? So there's definitely a party game vibe. But in the end, if anyone cares, it was a joint victory between 3 of us. Jess, Bez, and the Game Cupboard all got 3 points. I think we all missed out on one of the rounds.
Yeah.
And Tom got 2 points because Tom joined in halfway through, but Tom, in some ways, really won if you only count the last 2 rounds. And Rob was just playing at the start. I hope, by the way, Rob, that I'm assuming that it's just because you've got other stuff to do. I'm hoping that I wasn't, like, you know, insulting or anything in any way. If I obviously, you know, you can reach out to me if I'm ever doing, genuinely, if I ever do something to make someone feel annoyed or sad, then I do want people to call me out on it and let me know so I can continue to improve. But yeah, that is the game. It feels like it's working, but it also very much feels like you have to have at least 4 people, is what I'm realizing.
Yeah, that was really fun to play. It worked really well. It's absolutely the sort of thing that I could see. I mean, that is a real, you know, playing with small children. You know, that could easily be played with my 2-year-old and my 4-year-old. And in fact, that could be a game that could be played with grandparents. You know, So when we've got these Zooms with my mum, you know, we could easily play that. That would be a great game for that.
I found it's interesting. I'm trying to remember. I scored 3 out of 4 points. I think my first one, I didn't manage to get people to guess it. I think I was trying to get people to guess something and it didn't quite work. And I'm glad to hear. And just because I'd made a joke about, glad to hear.
Generally, I like being agreed with.
Maybe not when you could package this game with Jess's game. I mean, they don't seem like they're sharing components, really.
They're sharing the monster. Well, I suppose it depends. If you've just drawn the dinosaurs. But then you could do anything with the pictures.
Yeah, like if you play this game, if you have 6 dinosaurs, but also this game, I think you don't want just dinosaurs. I think that if you had just dinosaurs, this game would be worse. I think you want very diverse things.
This game, I think like you could package it with some coloring pencils. That could work really well. You could sell it as a set. You know, people could color them in.
Actually, that's a point. Like, I know not everything has to be monetized, but genuinely, like, if I did do a bunch of creatures like this, and then I did, let's say, what's the multiple of, I think it's 16 cards that Rob does in a sheet. So that's 48 cards. Let's say I did 48 cards, probably 48 rather than 64. Because also, I think every round you want to take away one thing. So if you have 48, you're going to be able to play card number minus 5 number of rounds, because 5 of them have to be there, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Although you might be taking away 2, so it's potentially only half of that. So potentially with 48 cards deck, so 43 divided by 2 is 21. Let's say you're playing 21 rounds before you need to shuffle, and then you see them again, which seems like not that much.
That seems fine, because then you'd have. I mean, think it depends who's playing and when you'd be doing this, because you wouldn't go that long. You wouldn't be playing it for for an hour. You know, you'd be playing it for for 15 minutes or so. So I think that seems fine.
I mean, what I don't want to happen, and the thing I was very worried about yesterday, is the idea that at some point people are just going to be like, okay, this is this monster, and this is the noise that this monster makes.
Yeah.
So when it comes up, you always know what kind of noise you're going to make. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we had a 50% success rate, which is really interesting. How humans are naturally kind of have an idea of which monster is which. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, we did really well. We did really well on that.
I completely forgot to change the banner. Sorry about that. But yeah, we've been testing my game called Strange Animal Noises, where we had these 6 things, and then we, because we're trying to make games that have these kinds of things, and the sound of an animal. Like, if Chris hadn't written that, I would never have made this game. And that is part of the joy of a game jam. And, you know, if it hadn't been about convince people you're a dinosaur, then we wouldn't have had that drawing game that you made. You know, it started off as a dice rolling set collection game that you made. And I think this is just a wonderful thing about this. So yeah, today it's all about game jamming. This entire week, it's just about making games. So today, we pondered Jess's game, and then we played this game. We could play one last round of this one. Dixit can have a similar problem with certain groups. largely fixed by expansions or varying the group, but also by the scoring system encouraging clues not being too obvious. Yes, I know, and someone mentioned Dixit yesterday, but I feel like you want to make it as simple as possible and just churn through the content. I feel like that's okay, especially if I say, hey, this is a set of black and white cards, and you can color them. Get your permanent markers or colored pencils, supply your own coloring, and you can paint these things.
Yeah.
I think that could be a thing that I could make. And yeah, drawing, and then maybe 64, 49, although, yeah, then you don't have the little markers. You have to say, yeah, you have to, and you've got to have the secret voting. Maybe everyone has to vote on one hand, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Maybe 5 is too obvious. I don't know. If you were in person.
Well, if you were voting on your hand and holding it behind your back, then actually that's fine. That's quite straightforward.
Because, I mean, 5 allows us to do that. And so that's a good way that you can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Exactly.
And would it be too easy? Like, shall we give it a go with 5?
Okay. I don't think it will be too easy. I think it'll be fine.
And that's number 4 now.
Okay.
So, Joanne, if you are up for joining in, it's really, really simple. Yeah, but I don't want to ask people to have a 6-sided die. That seems like a bit much. So, just to catch Joanne up, the way that this game works is you look at these monsters. One of us two rolls a... Oh, this is the problem. Now it doesn't...
Well, that's okay, because, with a real game, you could just have, with a real game, you could include 5 extra cards, which just have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on them. So you just pick one of those out of a hand of cards.
You could. Okay. I've re-rolled and I've got a number, and I'm going to make a noise. And in the chat, don't do it until I say, but think in your own head which monster would make the noise that I am making, okay? My noise is this. Sorry, I'm laughing not because of the monster. Okay, so it's just I'm amusing myself. Okay, have you got an idea? Okay, and I can imagine if you were playing this with people around the table, people might be like, "Oh, keep going, we haven't gotten it yet." Oh dear. I think we just lost. Wow. I saw. Wow. But everybody in chat, do you have an idea of which monster would make that noise? Oh, Jess is back. Brilliant.
Sorry, no idea what happened there.
And so, what monster would make this noise? Going, And so, everybody, get ready to type. 3, 2, 1. Type your number. Press enter. Press enter. Press enter. Get your number in. Okay. And Jess, you have typed a number. Ooh.
Ooh.
Okay, so yes.
That is, yeah, so many different numbers.
Well, three out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3 out of 5 people went for number 1. I am going to say that Jess went for number 4. Joanne went for number 3, but I was thinking number 1 because I was thinking it doesn't have a mouth. That's why, like, I was like, and it was kind of hopping. was kind of bouncing along. So that would mean now that the people who voted with the majority, which means Nordluck, which is Tom, Harper Rob, as in Rob Harper, and the Game Cupboard, all get a point. And I also get a point because I managed to get people to guess correctly.
And no point for me.
Sorry, I clearly didn't do it well enough, but... Yep. Now, this one goes away. We get a new monster, which I have to quickly draw because this is just a prototype. And the monster, well, maybe this one's got a hand. Or maybe it's, I don't know, this kind of looks more like a strange wing.
Oh.
And yeah, it's got human feet though. Okay, so that's a chicken creature. Or maybe it kind of does look a bit too realistic, as in too much like a chicken. But for the actual thing, I feel like it should probably be. Oh, Stream Element says jiggle and wriggle. So if you want to join me, but yeah. So now, have you rolled a die, Jess?
I have, and I have got an answer, and I'm sat here going, okay.
Make your noise.
The noise is blub, 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 blub.
Okay, I think I'm confident. I mean, keep on going for the benefits of people in chat.
Blub, 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 blub.
Okay, so now, everyone in chat, if you think you've got an idea, type in your number. Don't press enter just yet. Type in your number 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. So 3, 2, 1, press enter. What number do other people think it is? Jess has seen my answer because we've got some private chats going on. Oh. Everyone's going for 2.
And yet again, actually, it was 3 out of 5 people got it correct. It was indeed 2.
Oh no!
2 was the answer.
Come on!
That one goes. Oh,
I'm disappointed. So that means that Joanne got a point, Game Cupboards got a point, Rob got a point, all for being the majority, and Jess got a point for getting people to guess it correctly, which means that in that 2-round game, the Game Cupboard and Rob Harper was the winner.
Yeah, well done. They're doing well.
Yeah. That is the game. It feels like I mean, I got it wrong, so that's a good sign. That I mean, people are getting it wrong. And it feels very much like, yeah, this could be an actual game.
Yeah, this feels like you could have a nice little pack of cards, you know, with that sort of illustrations that people could just, you know, play quite easily. This feels good. It feels doable. And it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
No, I'm really happy about that. It feels like that's basically done. I'll maybe on Wednesday or Friday, if I'm not... I mean, again, if people want to jump in, then, you know, jump in and we can test your game like we tested Jess's. If you want to come back, Jess, and try your thing, then yeah.
Might do. This week is looking horrendous for me, but well, you know, plus there are loads of games out there. This is a great little, you know, party game. It's great.
Wow.
Daft family party game, says Rob. I love that.
Now, let me ask, is this a viable entry for my own game jam, or have I broken my own rules? Because it definitely feels like it could go to 7, probably even like 10 or 12. But, oh wow, there's a lot of snow coming down outside my window. So the question is, could this be playable with 3 people?
Probably not with the scoring. I mean, it would be fun with 3 people, and just making the noises would be fun. So if it's just being played, like, say it was a couple of kids, you could play it quite easily with 3 people, with 2 of them being children, and you're not keeping score. But as a game where you're scoring, that's where it gets tricky.
Yeah, because with the scoring as is, if 2 people vote for different things, and also I need to work out if oh, that's lovely to hear. But as an ortho game, by which I mean which is Richard Garfield's term, meaning straight game, as in there's a scoring and there's a measure of success at the end. Now, I'm not saying that every game has to be that way. I mean, maybe this is a game that is more of an experiential game with 3 players or 2 players. But the scoring mechanism is weak anyway, probably worse with 3, says Rob, but it's not about the scoring.
It's not, is it?
Oh, I like this. Co-op with 2. How many correct guesses?
Like when you're playing, the tennis volleys, when you're trying not to get the other person out in tennis. Not that I've ever progressed beyond that.
I mean, I'm now wondering whether a co-op mode would actually work at larger player counts, like 3 or 4. No, not massive, or maybe indeed it's like 10, I don't know. Like, what if everyone who... Yeah, you're trying to get the majority to align, so like 3 actually becomes more difficult. Maybe other people are just allowed to discuss. So like if you've got 3 people, the other 2 people are then allowed to discuss openly and say, hey, I think it's this one. Oh no, I think it's that one. But then you've got that just one this slightly annoying bit where someone's like, no, not just one, the wavelength. Like when one person's like, oh, come on, say this, and then you don't want to express it on your face, and everyone's talking about it. So maybe it should just be a straight up, okay, score. You need to show the number. You can't go through your reasoning. But maybe talking about the reasoning is more enjoyable. I don't know. Would talking about the reasoning be enjoyable? Would co-op be enjoyable?
You could have it as a team game. Say you had a large player count. You've got 10 people or so. You could have it as a team game, and it's... how maybe it's how many of your team members, they'd have to be equal teams though, how many of your team members could get it right.
Yeah.
So say there were 10 people,
like at a larger player count though, it feels like the scoring system as it is already works. We don't need extra complication. I mean, so yeah, Rob and I, it seems like we were very much on the same wavelength. Rob says co-op could work at any count. Aim is to get more than half the people to get this right. And I keep saying stuff as Rob is typing it. Play it, blah, 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 blah. You could do it. Cool.
Yes, how many of these monsters would say this? Which 3 monsters would go blah blah blah?
No, that's not the noise at all. It's blah 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 blah.
I think 3 of these monsters would do that, but not the top 2, clearly.
This one.
Yeah.
Actually, I think that one.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. I think
Do
that
you
one's
think
quite a
this one
quiet
would?
one. Yeah, I think that one would.
I think this one would. I don't know. I feel
It's a
like
bit grumpy, isn't it, that one? That one's a grumpy monster.
yeah. I mean, honestly, it was quite. I think I am going to draw a bunch more cards. I don't know whether I'll do that on stream.
Yeah.
5 would do that, says Joanne. Oh yeah, we were agreeing that these 2 would. That's the 2 that we both agreed might do that. But it's the 3rd. Would it be this one or would it be this one? And
it's definitely not the chicken, though. Definitely not the chicken.
that's the thing. Like, when you're drawing these things, you have to be very unlike other things. So, like, that chicken would have to be a bit less like a chicken.
Yeah.
And hello, Alex. We're we've gotten to the end of the stream, it feels like. I mean, I feel like I might do my first ever Barely Bearable, Busy Blethers and Beats show, which is kind of my ad hoc thing where I just draw a bunch of things. And honestly, if anyone wants to do some ad hoc testing on stream, let me know and we can start something up. Not tomorrow, Monday's officially my afternoons off, but yeah, sure. The fact that you're asking me tells me that hopefully it's not a terrible dream. So yeah, but yeah, please go ahead. Yeah, I feel like I'm happy with this. I'll ponder the co-op nature. It's just co-op at 3 players, right? How does that work? Do you need to get both people to guess your thing? Or do you need to get and I never explored that question of, is it interesting for people to say, hey, I'm voting this because of why? Like, at 10 players, you probably don't want people to go into that. You probably just want people to vote. But with 3 players, would you want them to say, hey, I'm voting this? Because would you want them to actually have that discussion?
Yeah, I think that would be cool. That would be great. Or it would if you've got 3 players and... Yeah, I mean, that's part of the game, I suppose. That you're like, no, that one's got a tongue. Or that one looks grumpy. Or whatever. Hey, maybe.
And... No, I think... Yeah, and... It feels like and I'm enjoying this stream. I will get to the chat in just a minute. And hello, Zihark Sama. I see that. And I might let you head off before we finish, Jess. And because you don't have to feel like you have to stay for the full thing.
That's
because
okay.
I know that quite often in the old days I said, well, I started off, very quick history, 30 seconds. I started off, it was like, okay, this is going to be like a TV show. It'll start at 10, then it'll finish at 11 on the dot, and people will tune in at 10, and then, you know, if it's going on too long, people will be annoyed. And then I realized that that's not what happens. People enjoy it if I go on a bit longer. And then I had guests, and then we had some really long streams. And I think I've had one stream with a guest that's gone on more than 3 hours, which has been about, we talked about colonialism and about appropriating other people's cultures. And that was with Jay from 3 Minute Board Games. And it was a really good chat about, hey, when's it okay to do this? And when's it's okay to reach into these things? It was a very serious chat. We had a lot to say. And anyway, so then it was like, okay, you know what? One individual was actually telling me that, hey, maybe when is your stream going to finish? It's been, and then I said, okay, you know what? It's going to finish at 12. And then because they had a job at 12 and they really wanted to watch the stream until the end, I said, okay, I promise this is going to finish at 12 on the dot. Anyway, so that person their job ended. And for me, it's just, let's leave it as long as it wants to be. And if you want to head off, then that's fine. I didn't want it to be like, okay, you jump in, therefore you're trapped in. You need to do it until the very end.
That's okay. No, that's no right. So I probably should head off because I promised my other half that I wouldn't be up here too long. Yeah. So small children are probably creating havoc downstairs, which is always fun.
But I thank you so much for joining us, and a quick thank you. It was a fantastic game, and I would love to play just a single D6 kind of tossing around version. But whatever you come up with, feel free to keep sharing it in the rules, and anyone who's in the Discord, jump in there and give Jess all the feedback. If you played it earlier today, do jump into Jess's channel, which is, do you want me to change the name while I remember?
Yeah, change it to Creatosaurus. Creatosaurus or Create-asaurus? One of Osaurus, probably, I think. Creatosaurus?
If you've got if you want it to be changed again, just write in your channel, hey Bez, please change it, and I will change it again. But
no worries. That has been great. This has been so useful. It's definitely something I'm going to think about more over the rest of the week. And by the end of the week, there might even be some ideas about how it might fit together. Some drawings of jelly meeples or something.
And for those who didn't see the...
where are the final ones? That was one of the ones you started on.
Where's my dinosaur?
Here's mine that I had.
There's my dinosaur. That's my...
Yeah, your person dies. Yeah, that was it. It was the one with the flippers. And here was mine, which was scales and a beak and whatever. And and there's the thing saying what the dinosaur upgrades were. Anyway, definitely, this will be a thing. I will continue refining it and see what actually works. But that has been great. Thank you, Bez. Thank you so much.
Thank you for all your energy. You've been awesome. And stay funky. Have a wonderful day with your family. And lots of love, Jess.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Okay, then.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye-bye. This is bye-bye to Jess. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. It was such a lovely mess. So, let me catch up a wee bit with the chat. So, sorry about this. Connected to our chat on Fridays. Oh, and yeah, I think that I'm going to do this. I'm going to make it all line drawings, maybe black and white, maybe just black, and probably not grey. Yeah, just black and white. And then I'll draw them, and then I'll probably draw them quite quickly. Maybe just draw 100 and then pick the best ones, and then just... Yeah, that feels like, 59... or maybe 43 monsters and 5 cards that say 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That could work. And so, anyway. Oh, yeah, Zerhurksama, sorry, I didn't. He kind of fleetingly said, hello, lovely to see you. Joanne, dreamed they were working for a place that makes adverts. Those paper flyers that get dropped in front of people's houses. Then they said to me, how do we get people to read those and not throw away? So Joanne thought and told them, put donut coupons in them. Oh, I like this. Yeah. Coupon tokens for the win. Yeah. I like this. I thought about this with Bez because figuratively donuts, getting people to look at things instead of passing them by. I'm coming up at a roadblock. Maybe my mind isn't sharp after a couple of hours of streaming. Maybe I'm missing something obvious, but no, sorry. I get how it's relevant. Like, yeah, so is there something that people are passing by on me? And you're saying that I need to give some sort of offers or some sort of actionable things? Maybe that's a lesson, that I need to include more actionable things in my offerings. Like if I'm sharing a tweet and say, hey, what do you think? It's like kind of, that's like the token. Like on this thing saying, hey, yeah, if you want to make a game, then for this 1 week, I am making myself available for a whole bunch of this week. So that's if you want to have a chat, let me know. I will be available to help you with your game. You can jump onto the stream. We can set something up. Maybe that's the thing, like kind of reaching out, making offers to people or asking questions or having actionable things to people. Yeah, maybe that's my takeaway. Now, Zhark Sama asks if anyone is familiar with Streamlabs. I have not used Streamlabs. I do not know. You might be better off asking Ross. I don't know if you know Ross's Discord channel. I could probably create an invite right now. Expires in 1 day. Fair enough. I'm just going to share this on the Twitch. And yeah, Zhark Summer, if you're not already part of Ross's Discord, then check that out. And Ross is much more knowledgeable than me and has a couple of channels for questions and answers about Twitch streaming and Twitch streaming in general. So feel free to jump in there, and are very good at helping other people around. Do they eat donuts? So, do they eat donuts in the UK? Well, I am based in the UK, and I can confirm that I do eat donuts. Not as a matter of course. I do not eat donuts every day. I've not eaten donuts for quite a while, in fact. But there are plenty of shops in which you can buy donuts. There is the American brands. There's Dunkin' Donuts. There's a lot of places like Greg's, very British, I believe. Greg sells donuts. I believe that you can get, own brand donuts. You can go to very fancy boutique stores that have incredibly fancy donuts, where in London, there was one shop that I walked past and was like, wow, that looks like good donuts. Actually, there's been two of them. One in that, what's that place? Holborn? No, near Liverpool Street Station, that kind of area. Anyway, there was one roughly near there and one just south of London Bridge. And these two donut shops, oh my gosh, they look amazing. But like they're like £5 for just one donut, or like one of them was something like £8 for just one donut. And this looks like an amazing donut, but I don't want just one donut. I want to have teeny tiny donuts. If anything, I would pay more. I would pay to have like a tiny donut that is literally, maybe this size, like a bite-sized donut. Sometimes you get those like this, yeah, like a tiny wee donut, and then you could have like 5 different flavors, like 6 donuts, and then, but 6 donuts have the calories of one because it's just so much smaller. Then you could have all the variety. I'd be all over that. Anyway, maybe you could get a donut shop to sponsor the campaign. Which campaign are we talking about? Yeah, people agreeing. Yep. So yeah, I don't know what your husband's all about. Yeah, we totally eat them. Yeah, we eat them. Yes, we do. And Rob's been known to. The most popular in the UK is jam filled with a sugar coating. Yep, I would agree with that. In the UK, a lot of the donuts are not ring donuts. I know this is going to sound strange, but there's some donuts without a hole. And then the question becomes, are these donuts, like, what's the difference between a donut and if it doesn't have, and like, if it were small enough, it would be, I know it's not a profiterole, but it kind of verges on like a lot of other pastries when it's not got a ring. Yeah, but custard donuts, yeah, I prefer custard donuts as well. I'm all about that. I like my donuts to be heated up quite regularly. Okay. Let me... Krispy Kreme, but spelt with the K, of course. Oh, and more people saying bye to Jess, but Jess isn't around, sorry, so I'll say to Jess that everyone said bye, and Jess has been lovely. And an incentive of some sort. So yeah, my incentive is just saying, yeah, if you want to make games this week, then I am. And that's not like a very good business thing, is it? It's like, okay, at best, if I can, it's like content marketing, but it's like, yeah, if you want to make games, then join me and let's make games. And if you've not made a game before, then I will happily give you feedback. I'll give you my time. I'll give you my energy. I'm making sure to try and look at everyone else's things. Okay, it's something to think about. People like food. What else do they like? Oh my God, I'm falling. I meant more in terms of getting people to buy your games. Yeah, definitely. Like, people like attention. People like being asked questions. People like, okay, so you mean like a free gift? Like, maybe, hey, you buy my game, I'll give you some free cat stickers. Yeah, some free stickers with my cat pictures on them. And you're very welcome. That was, thank you for the link. That link that I sent to Ross's Discord. Ross is a lovely person. A fish and a hook. That's... I understand the metaphor, but fishing, I mean, biting into the hook, it's quite barbaric. Donuts confirmed, yeah. They sell those bite-sized... No. I want the variety. That defeats the point. That's... Okay, so... I need a drink. I'm going to stand up for this. So look, if you have tiny little sweets, okay? If you have tiny little sweets, the whole advantage of the teeny tiny sweets is you can eat multiple. Now, what's the point in eating multiple if they are all the same? If they are all the same, you might as well have a big one and then slice it. I mean, a teeny tiny sweet, I want to be able to buy an individual teeny tiny sweet. I want to be able to go into a chocolate shop and say, okay, all of our chocolates are 50 pence each, and our chocolates are about this size, but they're very good. And then I go in and maybe I buy 2 of them. Maybe I buy the one. So this is a genuine place that was in Paisley back when I was studying there. I don't know if it's still there, but chocolates with a Z at the end, and it's a very camp, not the best, classiest name. It doesn't sound like a classy joint, but it's got brilliant chocolates. It had, what's that, Scottish sweets where you've got a bit of porridge oats, a bit of raspberry, a bit of whiskey, and it had that mixed together inside as a ganache, a dark chocolate. I was all about the dark chocolate. Pardon me. And then they've got the same thing in dark, milk, and white. And if I said, okay, so what's the percentage, they would be able to tell me. And yeah, like chocolates. I mean, if you go into a chocolate shop and I ask, what percentage cocoa is this chocolate? And you don't even know what percentage cocoa it is, you are not doing your job as a chocolate shop. Sorry, that is completely out of order. Anyway, so the big advantage of bite-sized things is to buy a variety. I want to be able to go into a donut shop with all these tiny donuts that are about this size, and then I say, okay, these donuts, maybe they're £1 each. Maybe they're quite expensive because it's, it costs money to buy these things, but are, with the classy places where they've got fancy fillings, like maybe one has like, I don't know, actual Irish cream in it, and like maybe some of them are boozy. I don't know. Some of them have alcohol. Maybe some of them are like, okay, we'll have some crazy flavor, like a tiny sliver of pineapple in here or something like. But like also just the classic, like a jam-filled one, a custard one, a chocolate one. Like then you get the tiny ones, and you get maybe like 5 of them for £5, and then you have them. Like, yeah, I'm all about that. So, donuts is a specific type of dough or batter, deep fried, whether a ring or a ball. Thank you for telling us, Rob. Profiteroles are choux pastry, very different, but also awesome. I understand they're different, but it feels like when donut doesn't have the ring, it feels like it's taking away from. Oh, you're very welcome. Cranachan, that is exactly what I mean. Thank you, Tom. Cranachan, thank you. Yes, I'm not sure about this. I think that there might be an I in there. But yeah, okay, we're all agreed here. I have not had a cronut myself personally. I am all about, yeah. I do enjoy Lindt stores. Thornton for me is not great chocolate. Lindt is okay. Lindt does not go high enough in percentage. Lindt only goes up to 99% cocoa. I'm a fan of Montezuma's Absolute Black 100% cocoa. I am all about the dark chocolate. And I also believe, while we're talking about dark chocolate, if you have chocolate that's 50% cocoa, why is that called dark? If you had, like, this is white, okay, and then let's say this is black. If you had grey that was 50% black, would you say that's dark? Maybe you would, but like when dark chocolates, I think legally it has to be more than, I can't remember. I think milk, it has to be like 20% in the UK, and dark, it has to be like 35, 40%, and that's messed up to me. Anyway, yeah, no time soon. Just too many ideas, too much work to do. Bez, do I have opinions about donuts? I don't know. Maybe. I would be a regular. Bez's Tiny Donuts and Games Emporium. Oh, tiny games as well. Yeah, maybe we only sell games that are smaller than... Yeah, maybe this is the biggest box that we are allowed. If your box is bigger than this, then it's not allowed. So you're allowed to have, you know, Oink games, of course, all of Chris's handy games. That, yeah, it's just specializing in the tiny games and tiny little card packs and tiny little things. It could sell games, chocolate, donuts, donuts of chocolate, games about chocolate, games about donuts, chocolate games and donut games, and coffee. Yeah, I like that idea. Although I feel like, in all seriousness, I'm not going to do it just because there's so much work. And like, it's not just about wanting to do it and having the passion, but sure, if someone wants to set up such a shop in London and wants to, I will, for a very cheap price, be happy to be your consultant and pop in some days of the week to, you know, sell stuff. I've got retail experience. I could work in such a shop. So I could be, yeah, Hotel Chocolat. But yeah, 100% cocoa, yeah, for sure. 70%, I quite like that. For me, 70% is like the minimum that I would personally consider, okay, this is quite dark chocolate, but it's also about the taste of it. Montezuma's 100% doesn't actually taste as bitter as you would expect. To me, 99% Lindt tastes slightly more bitter than Montezuma's 100%. Hotel Chocolat, I agree, that is great stuff. I used to be a subscriber to their monthly chocolate thing. That was fantastic, where you've got the chocolate and then you've got maybe 2 or 3 of each, and then you've got all the different flavors. That was delightful. All about that, yeah. There are some flipping terrible chocolates with high percentages. Yeah, I mean, just because it's mostly cocoa doesn't make it intrinsically better, but I do believe that Montezuma's 100% is good. That's all I'm saying. And yeah, I'm really missing it. I used to be able to get it at Sainsbury's, a tiny Sainsbury's in London, just maybe from door to door, about 20 seconds. You needed to cross the street, so it was basically, could you cross the street, or was there something in the way? But yeah, I found this for the first time towards the end of last year, and it was honestly it was the highlight of, it was one of the highlights of the second half of last year. So there is, or at least was, a game shop in Galway, Ireland called Dungeons and Donuts. That sounds amazing. And yeah, Hotel Chocolat, I think I don't know if it exists where you are, but there's quite a bit of it in the UK. It's great stuff. And lots of love to Tom. Thank you for popping in. And also, thank you for everything over the years. You are a wonderful person. Oh yeah, and where's my let me know if you're in the chat. So I'm going to upload some more drawings. Where's my J's? I started drawing some J's last night. I didn't do loads, but I did promise myself that I would do at least a wee bit of drawing every second day. And last night was too busy. But like, I'm trying to experiment with the J. I'm trying to get to J that I'm happy with also. But like, lots of love. Tom is amazing. Tom made Categorical. Tom's a lovely person. Tom, yeah, check out Tom. Tom isn't really on Twitch, otherwise I would do a wee shout out. Joanne, does 100% have sugar in it? No, it doesn't. It is literally 100% cocoa. It is literally just 100% processed cocoa. And I'll see if... What do you mean by a big recommendation? Do you mean like I am enthusiastic about it? I assume that's what you mean. Yeah, I am enthusiastic about it. But bear in mind that I am all about the extreme flavors. I love, I adore, it is something that gives my life sense and meaning and reason to be alive, to just taste different things and to see, oh, what does this taste like? Okay, sometimes I like to suck on a wee bit of lemons, but yeah, yeah, I can dig it. I just think that it's a wee bit better than Lint's 99%. Oh man, I am so jealous. I'm so jealous. Not even lying. Okay, let me actually talk about retail just very, very quickly. Okay, where have I worked at? I've worked at one place that they fired me for taking home stuff that I was told to put in the bin, which seems messed up. But anyway, actually, that was the last place that I worked at before I went on the dole and then started working full-time in the game-making industry. So this place, I used to get so much fish food, seafood products, and pies. It was completely ridiculous. I had one night when I had literally about £200 worth of scallops. They'd been ordered too much. My boss had ordered too many scallops. It was nothing to do with me. I was told to put them into the bin. I took them home and I cooked up £200 worth of scallops. It was something that probably could have, you know, you normally have maybe 2 scallops or 3 scallops. This was a big, huge bowl full of scallops, lightly sauteed with a tiny bit of seasoning, and that was it. I had Chilean sea bass, the best, one of the most expensive fishes in the world, like almost regularly. Like, it's ridiculous how much the amount of food that I had, or it was ridiculous. Like, free food is one of the best perks in the job. I remember before that I worked in a, oh, that's totally fair. Bye, Alex, and I hope you have a lovely lunch. And yeah, I used to work in a place in Glasgow called Kebabish, and in Kebabish, we would get a free lunch, literally. I mean, sure, there's no such thing as a free lunch, but, and also it wasn't technically lunch, it might have been dinner, depending on what time you were working on. But if you were working a full shift, you would get a free meal. And this free meal, you would basically, so there would be, okay, here's all the lamb on the bone, here's all the lamb off the bone, here's all the chicken on the bone, here's all the chicken off the bone, here's the veg, here's the seasonings, and sometimes, okay, here's the bread, and it would be like, you're not allowed to choose anything from the grill. If you chose anything from the grill, that would not be allowed. If you wanted to have any fancy naans, that would not be allowed. You could only have the basic naans and the basic roti tandoori. And then I learned, that was when I learned that the tandoori roti is basically like brown flour and naan is like white flour. And if you wanted any desserts, you'd have to pay for them. But you would get as much like basic bread and curry as you wanted. And I would eat a ridiculous amount. And so I would deliberately wake up, not have lunch, and then go into work and then be like, okay, and then for my lunch I'd have like this obscenely big meal. And I was almost known for having an obscenely big meal. It wasn't like I was costing the company money or anything. It was, and I learned so much about it, like the seasonings and how, okay, this curry is just basically these ingredients but plus this seasoning, which is already chopped and prepared, and this curry is just minus that seasoning, and it's only one difference, and what these things meant. And there was, anyway, free food, one of the best perks, for sure. But could each of my games come with a box of chocolates? That sounds like too much work. Nah, it could happen one day. That sounds like a lot of logistics. Honestly, at this point, I'm even struggling. I'm in discussions with a few folk to try and just work out the logistics of getting stuff outside of the UK. And honestly, for like this game, it's probably going to be like £5 within the UK, £15 within USA. And I'll just do it in a wee bag. It's just a bunch of cards in a bag. I'm not even going to put it in a box because I want to have some things where it's like, just, you know what, the first edition of my games come in a wee bag. Yeah. But I appreciate that. Thank you so much for all the energy. But yes, the scallops, like, it was like so amazing. And yeah, if I'd bought everything that I'd taken home, it would have been, I don't know, maybe £1,000 a week, something like that. That's probably pushing. So like the amount of tuna, like raw tuna that I had, I basically worked in the meat and seafood counter. And also like all the samples of cheese that I got, where the cheese counter was right there. And actually, you know, true story, okay? The person who worked at the cheese counter, and I need to have them on the show sometime, because I found out that they're still interacting with me on Instagram. And I was like, oh, that's quite nice to see. And then I used to be like, okay, where would you rather work? Would it be at the cheese counter? And I had to say, you know what? Honestly, I'm happy with all the seafood that I've had, but right now, I do like cheese. But having said that, now I've heard there's lots of cholesterol, so... But anyway, yeah, cheese counter. Lots of love. I probably should wrap up as well. I'm just excited about food. Food is amazing. Lots of love to all of you. Let me start winding down. But this has been so energizing, so much fun. Thank you for bringing up the chat, Joanne, about donuts. And that's the thing about live streaming. You never know what you're going to end up talking about. So we started, what have we been doing today? So we started off by playing this game by Jess, which was all about creating a dinosaur, where we were rolling dice and we had an AI that was doing things, and we ended up playing it a couple of times. It took like 15, maybe 10 minutes for the first game and maybe slightly longer for the second game. But that's because the second game, we were drawing our own dinosaurs, which is what you can see on here. That's the dinosaur that I drew. That was like the actual dinosaur starting with the human thing. But yeah, that was a really fun game. I really enjoyed that. And then what happened next? So yeah, we played my game, which was about strange animal noises. And I'm quite chuffed with how it went. I feel like, yeah, it went well. People had fun, and it feels like people are actually digging, you know, the weird drawings. So yeah, maybe I will actually just do a deck of cards with monsters, and you can color in your own monsters. Awesome. And And then what's happened? Then Jess had to go. Oh, before we did all that, we started talking about the advantage of ideas and discussing them and testing and going. We talked about how string is brilliant. Then Joanne came in. We played a couple more rounds. We played a good few rounds of this game, and we talked about donuts. Yeah, we talked about donuts and chocolates and food, and then I talked about retail and yeah, freebies. That was a good chat. So thank you, everyone. It was lovely to see you. And yeah, if you want to check me out, I am stuffbybeds.com, stuffbybeds.bigcard.com. Go to that site to buy my print and play games. Twitter.com/stuffbeds for all the random information and chatter. Instagram.com/stuffbeds for some pictures. Twitch.tv/stuffbeds. I'm streaming every day at 10 a.m. UK time. YouTube.com/stuffbeds for all the old episodes, and stuffbybeds.com/discord. That is where the game jam is happening, so please go there and jump in. It finishes on Saturday this week, so there's plenty of time to jump in, get inspired, and all the rules and everything are there. But if you want to double check, these are the optional things to be thinking about. So yes, I absolutely agree with the game cupboard, Kelly Lee and Ben. If something's going to get thrown away, surely it's better if someone takes it and it isn't wasted. By the way, I don't mean to pick on things, but why do you have a wee female gender sign at the end of that? Is that just to say that you're Kelly? Is that why you did that? I hope but yeah, I absolutely agree. And so I got fired in the end for one of the many times that I was going home with a bag of stuff. And I had been warned by, and this is the messed up thing, I'd been warned by people in my department saying, hey, look, Bez, if you cook all of this at work and eat it at work, that will be fine. You won't get into trouble. But if you take it home, that's going to be a risk. And that is, to me, really messed up. So if I cook it at work, take time when I'm working, and just that was what some people did, just eat everything at work. And so yeah, fill up on food at work. But if I want to take it home, take time to enjoy it and cook it using my own heat and my own electricity, then I get fired. That is completely messed up. Huh. The chat automatically adds the gender sign for some reason. I think it's because I used one of the iPhone female emojis. Oh. Ah, interesting. I wonder if that's... Okay. That's really useful to know, because I think I read too much into it sometime when someone else did something, and I thought they were making a statement with that. So it's really good to hear that it's just a thing. I mean, I don't think iPhone should be doing that, but anyway. Yeah, like there are programs that take leftover food from restaurants and give it to the homeless. Such things are starting up in the UK. There's a thing in London that I saw. Like, I know in France, I believe it's now actually illegal for a restaurant to throw away food. They have to give it to the... And so many of the pies that I took, I would actually take the pies, and then I went to someone saying, hey, look, do you have a method of cooking something? Because this is a pie, it's a really good pie, but it needs to be cooked. Are you able to cook it? And they said, yeah. And I was actually, I'm not going to say, oh yeah, I was Robin Hood, I was stealing from the rich, giving to the poor. I wasn't stealing. I was just taking the things that were destined for the bleeping bin. I was just giving it to the poor and taking it for myself. And I'm not going to say I'm poor, but yeah, 100%. It's completely messed up. It angers me. It really does. If you are still in the chat, you're very welcome. See Harksama, lots of love. And if you're part of my Discord, or you can always reach out and say, you know, in the just in the general chats, if you want to ask something in general chat and say, hey, it's lovely to... Oh, thank you very much. Love the monster noise game idea. I hope you do it. I want to see it. Awesome. Yeah, that really fills me with motivation, hearing that people want it. So I've got at least one British customer. I mean, if it's 15 quid to get it to USA, because right now shipping is an ordeal, I'm not going to expect you to necessarily buy it, but yeah. And just testing, yes, it does do the add the thing. So that is the end of my recap. And then I had a whole tangent about food waste, and then we got into that. And then I got very grateful that people are wanting to see this. And so, yeah, that's all lovely. And so, thank you. And that brings me to, yeah, thank you, everyone. You've all been amazing. Thank you, Jess, who was here earlier on, showing off the wonderful game that Jess has made. And thank you, Rob, for all that input. That was awesome. Thank you, the Game Cupboard, for jumping in and playing along with us. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, everyone. Thank you, like, obviously, Zia Sama and Joanne and just everyone. It's been so lovely having you all here. Lots of love. And so, yeah, thank you, everyone. And now that brings me to my final section. I always ask just before I finish up the show, over to you. What are you up to? You can share anything you want to. So let me know. And I'm going to quickly plug myself in because wait, is the internet okay here? Are you seeing me okay? Or am I coming through a bit? No, okay, I'm not going to plug myself in. So what are you up to? Is there something that you're hoping to achieve? Something that you feel like you have to get done, that you've been struggling with, that you're looking forward to when you can finally say, okay, this is done? Is there something that you're looking forward to the act of doing? Is there something like, you know what, I'm going to have a nice chat? Or you know what, I might give myself a treat and maybe read a comic that I'm really enjoying. Some Usagi Ojimbo. I'm like just a chill for Usagi Ojimbo. I genuinely love it. I don't get paid by it. I just love that comic, and I started reading that book. Or maybe you're thinking, hey, maybe even though it's COVID times, I might take I might go just buy one wee treat for myself, buy a bubble tea. I might do that. Or maybe you're thinking, I might reach out to see if I can have a chat. Whether it's something exciting or boring or serious or frivolous, just let us know. Might be nice to make some good food instead of just eating to survive. This sounds lovely. Just taking some pleasure in cooking something. Oh, you know what? That reminds me. I do have a dinner from Friday night, and I've not eaten yet, but today I'm probably going to eat that dinner from a couple of nights ago, at least half of what's remaining. It was my dish with red stuff. It was beetroots and tomatoes and carrots and red cabbage, and yeah. Let's enjoy food, and let's not feel like the treat always has to be sugar. Sometimes the treats can be eating, just taking the time for ourselves, taking the time to prepare something, or having, you can have healthy treats for sure. And, I'm not saying, okay, if you have an unhealthy treat, you need to be down on yourself. Like, that's not what I'm saying at all. But yeah, just good food. Something that you can take pleasure in. And tons of love to you too. And thank you so much. Like genuinely, if I'm drawing, should I just set up my stream and just have my hands here, just drawing random things? Maybe I should. Maybe I'll pop back this afternoon if I've got the energy. But there's a couple of things that I need to prioritize. But yeah, if I've got the energy, maybe I'll take a bunch of sheets of paper and then start doing wee drawings of monsters and chatting along with whoever pops in. But lots of love. If you want to check out my next streams that are scheduled, because I may or may not do an unscheduled stream, but that's the nature of unscheduled. But like, if you want to check out my next streams that are actually scheduled, check out that link below. So you would find out that next week, until the 14th, I've dedicated to the Game Jam week. So tomorrow I am game jamming with Tiz Creel and Rita Modal. Oh, amazing. Rita Modal made Men at Work, a brilliant children's adult dexterity game, as well as a kids game called Hoppy Top and an adult game called King of 12. Tiz Creel is an artist, co-designer with me, and I'm going to have those two people. I'm going to try and take a wee bit of a backseat because I don't want to be pushing everything to my agenda. Tuesday morning, I'm going to be game jamming with Matthew Dunstan and Alan Paul. Same idea, two different people. We'll see what happens. Both published game designers with lots of experience. Thursday, game jamming with Dina Ramsey and James Naylor. Ditto. Wednesday in between, I'm going to be just doing bits and bobs and whatever happens like I did today. Friday, same thing, just anyone's welcome to jump in. As always, we'll probably talk about the game jam. And then Saturday is the official end at 10 a.m. That's the point where, okay, everyone's got to have made something. If you make something before 10 a.m. on Saturday, the 13th of February, 2021, that is the year we live in. Wow, we are really in the future. This is cyberpunk. Anyway, I am going to be playing through everything that I can on Saturday and potentially Sunday, and potentially carrying on until whenever, because we'll see how many games we get. And then, of course, Tip Top Tabletop Tuesday. On Tuesday evening, we will be doing something. I might be doing more of my game with animal noises because it's easy to do. But if someone else wants to pop in, to jump in, then just jump in and we can do a double feature. We only stream for an hour and it's always very tight because on Tuesdays I like to start at 8 and then finish at 9 because Loserpalooza starts at 9 and then I can raid them, and then people are like, yeah, we want to watch Loserpalooza, but we'll raid Bez first because Bez finishes within like a couple of minutes of Loserpalooza starting. So that's the way I normally go. So it's kind of really, yeah, if you like board game play-alongs, check us out on Tuesday at 8 p.m. UK time. That is everything for the next week. And so, yeah, again, thank you so much. And so, yeah, definitely jump in and make stuff and get involved. So, share, spread the word. And now it is the time for me to look and see who we should raid. Oh, I was going to do Kalinsky, but it is Crystal Cat's birthday stream. So let us go to Crystal Cat 1989. For those who don't know, Crystal Cat has been on this show once in the past, on a Friday, a couple of weeks ago. Lovely person, based in the American continent. I can't remember whether it's Canada or USA. I can't remember. But it's in that continent. It comes from that continent. Lovely person. They do crafting. They do a kind of Stream Raiders. If you've heard of that, you can jump in. It's like a video game you can jump in on. But please do follow the raid and say happy birthday to them. And if you're ready to raid, then feel free to copy paste some or all of that message. And that brings me to the very end of my stream. So does anyone have anything left to say? Because if not, the only thing left to say is, of course, bye, 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 bye. This is the goodbye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. And now it's time to go. Bye, 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 bye. This is the goodbye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. And now it is time to go. Bye-bye. 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 Bye. And if you're watching live, remember to say happy birthday to Crystal Cat. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye.